on. Maybe I have some stuff that I'd like to get off my chest, but you know.
Yeah, feel free.
Well, there's a lot of shit that happened over the last 2 days, so it's one of those things where I'm like, ugh. I don't want to have to talk about it, but I think I should. And I don't want to do a video because I'm lazy. I'm a lazy bastard and I know it. Gosh darn it, I wanted to make sure I was seeing the chat. God damn it. YouTube, would you please work for me? There we go. There it is. There's the thing I was looking for. There's the video.
There you go.
There we go. We should be live. Of course, no one is here, as per usual.
So I guess the two who are watching are us.
Yeah, I'm watching. Oh, what the? There was an orange screen there for a second.
I think
it may have been.
How come it's not using my icon? Let me see if I can get it to use my icon.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. I don't know. Was it confused? Was it trying to use a?
I don't know.
Camera?
That's weird. Let me see. Turn the camera on. There we go.
Yeah, that may have been the problem.
The camera was off.
That's probably what was it. It's like, it was the camera. Guys, it's the camera. It's always the camera. Okay, so just making sure. It was
okay. I see what was going on. I had the camera on. Now the camera's off. Now does it show my my icon?
I don't know. I'm looking at the stream right now and I don't see anything yet. I don't know. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's probably like a delay.
Oh, okay.
So it normally works when someone talks.
Okay.
Then you see the picture, and then sometimes
there I am. Okay.
You're there! Hooray! Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
There's 3 more people now.
Yay! 3 people. That's normally the best I got. Yay! I'll just wait a little while. I normally let some people hopefully funnel in, and then from there we'll just get started.
Okay.
But if you feel like talking about something, please feel free to do so.
Sure. What do you think about that crazy cover for the Exiles book?
You mean the one that Jon Malin drew?
No, the other one that's out there with the black blink and the mannish Ms. Marvel.
I have no idea what the hell's going on with that. I've seen the picture, but I have no idea what's going on. I don't have any context.
I think it's just a variant cover, but it's badly drawn.
Well, obviously, it's badly drawn. I look at it, I was like, that looks like shit. What is there a problem, Frugal?
I think your audio is a little scratchy.
God damn it! Hold on. What can I do? What can I potentially do to fix this? Oh, hold on. Let me see.
Eric Green, you're right. It does look like a kindergartner's art project.
Okay, am I back? Do I sound better?
No, it's the same.
God damn it. I don't know what to do.
What type of mic are you using?
Using my Turtle Beach headset.
And it's plugged in through your laptop?
Yeah.
Is everything connected?
Everything should be connected. Okay. What to do? What to do? What can I do?
Let's see.
It's moments like this when I wish that I had Switchpoint here. He could tell me what to do.
Let's see. Let's check out the. Go to your settings and just see what the audio source is. That might be what's going on. On Google Hangouts.
Oh, on Google Hangouts. Okay, hold on. Now let's control room. Camera screen. Now let's chat. What the flippy flip? Control room.
Should just be sort of like the Google Hangouts page. I don't know if it looks different for you since you're the one hosting it. But there should be a little sort of dial or wrench looking thing that's next to the phone. The little phone icon.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry. I spaced and forgot. Okay. Microphone. Oh, it's on the Turtle Beach.
Try switching to another one if there's another one available, and then switch back. See if that clears it up.
Okay, hold on. It's gonna sound weird, by the way. It's gonna sound probably even worse. Oh wait, that's a speaker. Okay. Yeah, it's going to sound weird.
That sounds better.
Am I better now?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Okay. Well, so there's always the possibility that sometimes there's just like a spike in, you know, something that could make the audio sound like shit. Hello, everybody. Am I back now? Does it sound better now? I certainly hope it does.
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, good. Thank goodness. We dodged a bullet. So hello, everybody. Hello, Samurai Raccoon. Good to see you. Hi, Eric. How are you? And Frugal's here, too. So
Hi,
that's
everybody.
good.
And thank
Yay! Yeah. He deserves it. Everybody, round of applause.
You can't see it, but I'm bowing.
Yes, please. Take a bow, sir. A internet bow that you can't see. It sounds like me? Oh, darn it. I was hoping I would sound like an Autobot or a Decepticon. I thought maybe it would be better that way. I mean, Englentine always sounds like a robot. Seems like something fun.
So how you been doing?
I'm doing well, but I have some stuff that we should probably talk about.
Okay, let me say hi to everybody. Hey, everybody.
Yes.
How you doing? All right, go.
Were you going for I have no idea what that means. Astorian? That sounds like where I live.
Astro Train.
Oh, Astro Train. Oh.
Yeah.
Those two words were put together, so it's like when I read it, it's like it almost looks like the way they spell where I live. Oh, he's listening while playing Garden Warfare. That's fun. We have company tonight. Good. I like having company. So we have a bunch of stuff that's been going on. I guess what I wanted to start off with and discuss for the most part was, well, we have all the stuff that happened with Jon Malin or Malin.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's stupid. I'd love to literally yell at Bleeding Cool for a while if everyone will permit me to do so.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry you're late, TK. You're not late. You're just fashionably early. Or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the one who's late.
Yeah, just some guy is late. I'm not late. I was here on time. I was waiting. And it's okay. You know? It's better to be late than not show up at all. Because then you leave me all alone with just my thoughts, which is a terrible thing to start off with. So, we've only been on for like 8 minutes. Local YouTuber yells at Bleeding Cool. It's not like it's a new thing. Everybody does it practically.
I'm surprised that they would run something like that, to be honest, though, to run an article that's so clearly biased.
Well, yeah, obviously.
That's going to, sick all these people on this guy for what's first of all, it's a benign statement, but if they had said it about the other side, none of them would have batted an eye.
Absolutely not. If it was on if the shoe was on the proverbial other foot, no one would care. Because they never report on it. They never reported when Mags was saying violent statements or any other creator who says something that's clearly out of line.
Yeah, and they've been comparing everybody else to Nazis this entire time. So all of a sudden when someone does it to you, it's like it's bad. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. The problem with Bleeding Cool is, first off, for everybody out there who would even entertain the idea of going to Bleeding Cool, hold on, stop what you're doing, and don't do it at all. Don't support them at all. Don't go to their website. Don't. I mean, I would be on the fence of saying just don't talk about them in general. But I mean, obviously we can talk about them, but I'd say just call out the people who are responsible for their bullshit, you know. Sorry.
Yeah, like Joe Glass with his wide open mouth.
Yeah, please feel free to shove a foot up it.
I don't think that's what he wants in there.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's not what he wants, but I'm
it.
going to shove a dirty sock down there if he doesn't close his mouth.
I tried to find a picture of him without his mouth open, and I literally could not find one. I couldn't find every picture, even the pictures where he's just standing with people. He still has his mouth open. It's like, close your mouth. You're around two women. There's nothing they can put in there. Close your mouth.
You know, show more emotion. There's more than one way to express yourself in photograph. You know, you could smile.
Like, all of them take these really weird pictures. They either have like a scrunched up face, or like they're really smug, or they have their mouths open, or they're doing some weird thing. It's just take a normal picture.
Yeah, it's like, whatever happened to just taking a normal photo? I took a normal photo with a voice actor in October. He didn't do anything stupid or weird, and neither of us did. We just like put a thumbs up, we smiled together. That was it. That was the end of it. Nothing else. Nothing weird. Why does everybody else have to make weird pictures? I don't understand. This is going to make me completely confused.
So what I'm still trying to figure out with Jon Malin is he's no longer at Marvel, right? He left?
He's freelance.
Okay. So he was just doing covers.
He was doing covers and interiors for cable.
Okay, but they didn't have him in an exclusive contract. No,
they didn't.
So he did like a few issues and then he was done.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. I saw an interview with him from that he did with the quartering, and so, excuse me, I don't know why, but there's mucus everywhere. Great. Anyway,
the sinus infection is spreading over the microphone. That's what's happening.
That's what I need. More of that. Anyway, yeah, apparently he's freelance, so he's not under an exclusive contract from Marvel anyway. And he apparently, I think that one cover that was done with Blink that I think has recently been circulating today and whatnot, and probably a few days ago.
Yeah.
Apparently he had drawn the other cover, and then, you know, they edited it, and I guess he decided that he was going to stop working with the team and kind of move on. And he gave like 2 months notice that he will, after whatever issue, he was moving on. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a fair or reasonable thing. And then all this stuff happens, and this isn't going to endear him to anybody. But
well, why would they? Here's what I don't understand. When he does the cover, first he gives them a rough for them to figure out which posing they want him to use. So he has to do a couple of thumbnails and rough sketches. So then that gets approved. Then he does the pencils. That gets approved. Somebody inks it if he didn't ink it himself. That gets approved. Then it gets colored. That gets approved. So it's gone through at least 4 or 5 approvals before it reaches anybody. If they have such a boob problem, why didn't you stop that before he started putting inks to the page? Why would you wait till it was already done when you already know what the response is going to be?
Yep. And considering how progressive Marvel wants to be, you think they would have nipped it in the bud before it even started.
It's like they wanted the controversy. They want to court the controversy, but
that might very well be
the artist. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, the biggest problem I have is the fact that Rich Johnson writing that article and literally painting a target on his back.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. I do not like that one damn bit. This is the reason why I have yet to publish a comic or do anything of that nature. I lose my enthusiasm to even get started when there's shit like this happening in the industry. It's like, what's the point? Why should I bother? Maybe I'll just put my creative talents to something else where the environment won't try and kill me. Jesus.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. That's really what it is they're trying to make sure that people who want to create stuff but aren't like them won't even try to do it. So don't fall for it. You know, I think he did a good job of calling them out and then watching them play right into his hand when they're sitting there doing exactly what he said they were going to do.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this makes no sense. I don't understand why Bleeding Cool would target him like that. I don't know what it
Well,
gets them.
I think I might. I don't really have a cohesive reason for them to do it, but it's Rich Johnston. He's kind of a shitbag to begin with, so that's pretty much the only reason you would probably need to, target someone, just because he knows it'll garner attention, probably.
Yeah, but you know what? They tried that with Will Callaghan, and it completely blew up in their faces, and I love that. I absolutely love that, because I saw the stuff with Vox Day, but I wasn't sure if Will was actually involved in it. So I was waiting to see if he promoted it. He did promote it on his Facebook page. So then I'm okay, I'll go ahead and support it. But I love that they tried to shut him down. It's like, okay, now he's going to get a comic made, and he's got more money than he's going to do it.
Yeah, it's much better when it blows up in everybody's faces, obviously. When stuff like that happens, I'm all like, good. Let's keep doing that. Let's throw it right back at them a bit and just see them squirm and writhe in agony a bit.
We need to see some more like comic pros and people who are running these companies stand up for their creators. I mean, it makes no sense to have Malin out there just sort of dangling in the wind by himself. Where are all the people who agree with him? If enough of y'all stand up and say, we're not going to tolerate this, these people don't have the power to keep doing it and like malign everyone. They keep doing this stuff, and it's like everybody folds instead of standing up and saying, no, you don't get to run someone out the industry because they said something that you've been saying all this time. You turned Donald Trump into like a supervillain. You've had people kill him. You've had people punching him and all this stuff. That's fine. This one dude makes one little comment, and it's like, that's just off limits. Come on. You can't do that to him. Where are all the people who should be supporting? Nobody is supporting the dude. It makes no sense. If
anything, other comic book professionals were attacking him instead of, defending him.
Straight after him. It was ridiculous. It was like someone just dangled the meat in front of him like, this is the one that you're supposed to get. And they just went right for it.
Yep. And that's a problem. The problem is that you have comic book pros that either choose not to get involved because they probably like their job and they want to keep it, which I can understand to an extent. But at the same time, it's like you can see your friends literally getting stabbed right in front of you and you're doing nothing to stop it. These are friends, these are coworkers. You know these people, you know them better than this. At least I would certainly hope you know at least that they're not what they're calling them. And instead of backing them up, some of you just outright attack them anyway. Most of them, from what it seems like, are younger creators, but
what's that kind of like sort of like that little high school, not even high school, because most teenagers are more mature than this. Yeah, it's sort of like a middle school kind of thing. It's like a bunch of like 10-year-old little girls over here bickering and snickering at each other. It's like, you're all adults and you're in a business and you're acting like this is some little schoolyard. And it's like, oh, she has her hair. Did you see what she did to her hair? She looks stupid. Oh my God. Like this is the level of stuff that we're doing, but you're seeing people losing jobs. You're seeing people being attacked, being threatened. What they're going after Ethan Van Sciver over the most mundane things. Is like, what is wrong with you people?
Going after a parody book that was completely harmless.
Like everybody got the joke when he first did it, but because a couple of years passed along, nobody gets it now.
Well, that's because people are brain dead and they don't remember shit.
Yeah, like how there's the so-called the Hitler haircut, right? The white supremacist haircut that was like so fashionable when Macklemore had it. You know, that was just 2 years ago. So in 2 years, it went from being the Macklemore look to like the new Hitler Youth. And it makes no sense how it just shifted like that.
It's, oh my God. I don't understand how an entire industry can't back up its creators when stuff like this happens.
I am really baffled by that because if you look at what happened with Gamergate, the companies that decided that they weren't going to take it like Rockstar, when the feminists went after Rockstar for the prostitutes, it was like, you can kill the prostitutes. You can kill everyone in the game. That's how the game is made. But they're They're street workers. You can kill the cabbies. You can go and get in the cab, get out the cab, go and try to open the door. He'll come out or she'll come out, and then you can kill him. Now, you're not going to get your money back. You're going to get whatever money they had on them. But the point is, you can kill everyone in the game. And it's like this one little group. They're like, oh, you shouldn't be able to kill them. Even though some of them will like pull out guns and knives and whatnot as you're trying to do this. And they got it pulled in Australia, in Target Australia. It's like, okay, well, then that's one store in Australia that won't sell it, but all these other chains do, so they're going to get that money. Rockstar didn't back down. What happened? Nothing. The game is still out. It's still having patches and everything. People are still playing it online. Nothing happened. If you stand up to these people, nothing happens. They have no real power other than the power that you give them. So if all these pros just decide to say, you know what, we are not going to pull another cover because you don't like it. You don't like big titties? Well, then don't buy the cover. There you go. Don't buy the book.
Problem solved.
Solves that problem.
It's the same thing they've been telling us to do for years. It's like, oh, you don't like my SJW comic book? Then don't buy it. It's like, well, I didn't buy it. That's the reason why I don't like it. It's like, well, just apply the same logic to people who don't like big-tittied women. It's an easy fix. It's like, you don't like it? Don't buy it. If it's not meant for you, then you don't have to buy it. No one's asking you to.
Of not being meant for them. It's the most petty thing. It's like you're sitting here acting like there are not women who have large breasts. There are. I see them all the time. And
I live on a coast city.
Yeah, I mean,
every summer
Chicago, it was 50 degrees outside, man. It was just 50 degrees. There were shorts and flip-flops. It was just 50 degrees. The sun wasn't even out. It was still cloudy. They didn't care. It was warm enough.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that happens all the time. You can't pretend none of the characters can ever have, like, large bosoms. Come on. But to sit here and react like that, where they Photoshop the picture, they give her a breast reduction, they pull up the little shirtlet, and then they repaint it. There were like these thigh slits that she had on a blank skin.
Oh yeah, I saw
they
that.
Painted those like light blue so it wouldn't look like it was skin. Like, oh, she can't even show some thigh? Just a little. It's not even side thigh, it's front thigh. She can't even show front thigh. That's out.
Yeah, you do realize that there are cosplayers that are going to go out there and they're going to dress however they want the character to look like, right?
It's like they've never been to a convention.
Yeah.
And it really, like, you go to a convention and you're like, that's not how Wonder Woman's costume looks.
But believe you me, for someone who's only been to 2 conventions, I can safely say I have seen a lot of scantily clad people.
Oh, yeah.
Men and women alike.
Yeah. There's no hesitation in doing it, but it's just the weirdest thing to watch these folks have something that's a creative field where the whole point is that you're allowed to express yourself. And they're saying, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And then they're turning on anyone who they don't even have to dare to buck the trend. It's just, oh, they didn't know. And it's like, oh, I didn't know. Okay, it doesn't matter. We're going to go at you. And then the moment they apologize, that's like, it becomes a feeding frenzy because it's like, oh, you're sorry now? Now we're really going to dig into you. Yeah. I like that Joe Malin didn't back down. He like stood his ground, like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Because if he like capitulated, they would have destroyed him.
Yeah, he did call it a viper's nest.
It really
exactly
is
what it is, and we need anti-venom to get rid of it.
No, what we need are people to lose their exclusive contracts and be fired.
There's that.
That's what has to happen.
You want to know? I was remembering like when Riri Williams was first announced, and Brian Michael Bendis did his whole, spin doctoring to try and explain the reason why, he did it and whatnot. It was kind of funny. It's like you're trying to appease these people who don't read the comics or the people who have this political mindset. And then immediately after you say your comments, they turned on you and bit you in the ankle like a viper.
Oh, and he went right after him. That was hilarious.
Nothing. He said nothing. It's like they attacked you for being white, writing a black character.
I thought he did say something about it. It was really mealy mouthed. It wasn't very strong, but I thought he did have a reaction. I don't remember what it was, but it was.
Maybe he did. I don't remember him saying anything about it.
But it was quick. It was like the next day. Like one day, they're like, "Oh my God, we got our black female Iron Man is so great. And then I was like, wait a minute, it's being written by a white guy. Why is he writing it? Because he has 2 black daughters. That's why he's writing it. You understand? He adopted 2 black girls. That's why he's writing the character. Well, he shouldn't be writing it. It should be a black woman who gets to write the book. And then that was when Marvel decided to get Roxane Gay, because they found out that they had never hired a black female writer. So instead of going and just going to like a convention, because there's one happening pretty much every month, and just finding some black female writer, black female creator that's in Artist Alley and go, I'm going to get you. You go and you get Roxane Gay, someone who's never written a comic book in her life. That's the person you hire.
That's a big problem I've seen with them. It's like you don't go to the biggest places that the place you should go to find the talent. Instead, you pick up all these random yahoos basically right off the street, or that have no experience
with that. That's what that was.
Huh?
They were trying to court the feminists with that one.
Oh,
that was what that was. And then like with Ta-Nehisi Coates, it was the same thing. They're trying to court a certain group of people who don't buy the book.
Oh, Roan's here. Hello, Roan. Good to see you. Sorry if I haven't said anything to everybody in chat. How's everyone doing? Hello, Mr. Dystopian. Good to see you guys. What did you miss?
Everything.
Everything. The stream is now over. You have failed. You'll have to now go back and watch it all over again. For shame on you, Roan.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you think that the Black Panther movie is going to be the first Marvel film to kind of bomb?
Well, it depends on how they handle their marketing. If they decide to do the same thing that they did with, or that Sony did with the Ghostbusters movie, yeah, it'll probably tank if they decide to go down that particular road. But I don't know. From what I've seen, that doesn't seem to be how they're marketing it. Time. I mean,
I'm just a little curious about it because of the audience that they're trying to court, and the fact that they tried this with the Black Panther books, and those people didn't buy the books, but they were talking about it a lot, because on my Facebook feed they were all over like, oh, Black Panther, Ta-Nehisi Coates, oh my God, World of Wakanda, but the books tanked. Yeah, so I'm wondering if they're not really going to see it.
Really sold.
Yeah,
of the first Black Panther book, and then immediately after that, everyone saw a really steep decline after 3 issues, and it was a #1 selling book at #1, but it did clearly was either terrible or it didn't garner the support it needed.
Samurai Raccoon says, "I love how they claim we're racist when the Black Panther film uses a rap track." That's true. It does. And it's really weird because they're African, not African American. They're not from America. Why are they using that's not the music of Africa?
Yeah, I want to hear some really nice, cool tracks. I mean, could I get something that's like maybe akin to the Lion King or something? I don't mean to sound rude, but that's kind of just what I normally think of when I think Africa.
They're not going to do that. I don't know what the actual film score might be, but all the promotional stuff has a very sort of hip hop urban kind of sound to it.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing they're trying to play to that crowd, but I don't know if that crowd is actually going to turn out. That's the question.
My problem is with pretty much every, major film trailer, it's like they're putting in some sort of rap or some sort of rock anthem. I'm like, I get it. I mean, you're trying to pump people up for the movies. It's cool, but could we maybe get a tease of some of the actual tracks in the film? I mean, when we go see a Star Wars trailer, what do we get? We get Star Wars music. Could we get that? Yeah. Could we get something akin to that? Not everything has to have like a rock song or a rap song. Just simple, nice, epic track. I imagine doing something like that with like Lord of the Rings or something.
Well, it doesn't. They did that with one film that was really weird. What was the one that they did it with? It was something recent where it was like a regular type of movie where it had nothing to do with that type of music, but they put it on there anyway. And it was very jarring. I can't remember what film it was, but it was like way out of line. Like, what? Why is this here?
Yeah, sometimes that happens when I'll see a trailer and I'm like, why is this music here?
Jive soul.
It doesn't feel right. I think that was my main reaction when they were showing Black Panther trailers, and when I'm like, why is this here? This doesn't work. It doesn't feel like it fits what's going on screen. We should have something else, something kind of jungle-like. Oh, Warcraft. Maybe that was the movie you were thinking of.
Yes, that was the movie. That was actually, thank you. Thank you, Soul of the Dragon. That was the movie. I remember seeing that trailer, and it had like this crazy, like contemporary rock music to it, but it's a Warcraft film. That movie was terrible, by the way. It was a bad movie. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like a highly produced sci-fi network show.
Yeah.
It was shot like that. It wanted to be like deeper than it was. And the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, you know what you guys should have done? You should just let the folks who make Warcraft just make the film.
Yeah.
Just animate the film. I'm getting tired of these live action movies where 80% of what you see is animated, is CGI. Well, just do the whole thing like that.
Yeah. Or could we maybe get some more traditional animation back? I'd like to see some movies like that.
Oh, they're never going to do that.
I know. And that makes me sad.
I went to school for that. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a traditional animator. I wanted to work at Disney because they were doing all the great stuff. I grew up with the Beauty and the Beast was a film that made me want to be an animator. And then right after that was Aladdin. I knew everything about that movie before it came out because I was watching the Disney Channel like nonstop, every behind the scenes. I had seen like a third of the film before it even hit theaters because of that. Wow. And in 2000, they fired their entire traditional animation team. They kept like the big guys from the second Renaissance, like Glenn Keane and Andreas Deja. They kept them. So all sort of the key animators, they kept them, but they didn't have anything to do because most of their stuff was being farmed out to France. That was what Disney was doing then. They were sending it over to France to have films get finished. I think the first one they did that was the Goof Troop movie, a Goofy movie. That was the first one where it was all like an all French team. They actually had to have them reanimate certain scenes because they were getting the lip sync wrong. They were making it look like French movements instead of like English movements. But that was what they did. And then they sold all the animation equipment. Like that was how hardcore it was. They sold off all those old animation desks and everything. And then around, I guess it was like 2004, they started reconsidering it and teasing it, but they weren't very clear whether they were going to bring it back. And then when they did, what was that, Princess and the Frog?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that was the last animated feature I saw from them.
Yeah, it didn't do terribly, but it didn't do great. It did okay. And
I thought it was a decent movie. I liked it.
But because it didn't hit like crazy numbers, they're like, okay, we're never going to do this again.
Yeah. I think Mr. Dystopian mentioned a Gex live action movie. I think that you could maybe pull it off with him, with that character. I think that's probably one of the few ones you could get away with where it's like, hey, let's take this character and put him in a live action setting. Because they did that in the video games. Oh, I miss those games.
Well, they were teasing doing another Roger Rabbit movie for a while.
Oh, yeah. That would be cool.
It would, but everybody who knew how to animate like that
is
probably not around anymore.
Yeah. Not a live action version? No, we should do it because there was, I can't remember her name, but they did have one, I can't remember which Gex movie it was. Or not movie, but game. But in one of them, they actually had an actual actress as his sidekick or as a side character or something. I can't remember which one.
Wouldn't everyone automatically think he was just the gecko from Geico?
Probably. That would probably be how it would end up. It's like there'd be a lot of memes about Gex and Geico. Third one, yes, that's the one. I think Mr. Dystopia might be right. It's either Gex 3 or Gex 4. I don't remember.
Yeah, I never played those.
When I had a PlayStation 1, that was one of the first games that I played was Gex. It was a lot of fun. It was a pretty fun game. When it was 2D, it was good, and when it was in 3D, it was a lot of fun too. So I used to play a lot of different platformers when I was younger, so I do not sell car insurance, damn it. You only played the demo?
He had a cameo, and then he'd like be there next to him. You probably couldn't tell him apart.
Except for that one might be wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Gex wears a tuxedo and holds a remote control to a TV. I think. I think I remember that as one of the promotional arts for one of his games. I just can't remember which one. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. You never played Gex Smaxo? Well, if you have an opportunity, try and find one of them and at least give the first one a shot. It was a 2D side scroller. It was pretty fun, actually. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it was fun. The humor in those games were pretty good, actually, for their time.
Yeah, I never played any of those. I do remember the ads for them though.
Yeah. Well, they advertised them like crazy. I think it was one of Sony's attempts for a mascot, but they were all over the place in like every generation and every conceivable time they tried to pick a mascot, they would move to the next one, and then the next one, and the next, and then the cycle continued. First, I think it was Gex, and then for PlayStation 2, I think it was Jack and Dexter for a while, and then it was...
No, wasn't it Crash Bandicoot for a while?
Oh, yeah. Crash was their first one.
Yeah. That never worked.
Unfortunately,
it was just too weird.
Why can't Spider-Man be their mascot? Sony could maybe potentially get away with that.
Well, I love how they stole the Spider-Man font for the PS2 or the PS3. That was brilliant. They was like, what? We're just going to use this for our game system. There's nothing you can do.
Oh, yeah. Spyro was another one as well. God, I miss Spyro.
Wasn't he voiced by Elijah Wood?
Oh, man, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think they did like a Spyro game where it was Elijah Wood was the voice.
I don't think it was the first one. Hold on. I'll do a quick Google search. That's how these streams go. I do Google searches.
That's fine. I'm used to that.
Spyro the Dragon. Be nice if Spyro would make a comeback. Spyro Dragon voice. It would seem as though maybe he has more than one. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I see Elijah Wood in here though.
Yeah, I was pretty sure he did it for one of the games. I don't know if he did it for a lot of them, but I'm pretty sure he did it for one because I remember an interview with him talking about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It says Tom Kenny. Okay. Wait, that's for Year of the Dragon. Why is it pick Year of the Dragon? I'm talking about the first Spyro the Dragon video game. Because I played the first one and the second. Is it so hard when I type it in that it's like, hey, I want the first one?
No, they're just going to go for whatever is the most popular Google search or whatever Google thinks you should look at.
According to this, it's voice cast was Carlos Alsaki. I don't know if that's his full name. Hold on. Might cut off his name. Okay, no, it's Carlos Alsaki. No idea who he is, but apparently he was Spyro in the first game anyway. Because they didn't really have a lot of money or funds, so obviously, they would have had to probably gotten someone who they could afford. Elijah Wood's a bit up there on the pay. I think.
Yeah, and this was post Lord of the Rings, so he was in hot demand.
Yeah, I think in like the first two games it was probably Carlos. I think. Because I think they have the same voice actor. But Spyro was a fun game. I liked it a lot better than Crash Bandicoot. I didn't really care for Crash Bandicoot, but I like Spyro. I remember at least one time when I was in school, I was sick. And while I was sick, I did nothing but play Spyro. For the entire week I was sick. I was like, I am going to beat this game. And I did. It was a lot of fun.
I have a trick. If anybody who's listening ever has this problem, you have a cold or flu or a sinus infection, and you're trying to clear it up, here's a way to clear it up without actually having to take anything. What you do is you go and you put on the hardest Street Fighter game you can find and then
Mhm.
play it, because you will be so pissed off. It'll just clear your sinuses right up.
Oh yeah.
That was my trick. When I would get really, really like clogged up, I just go and put on Street Fighter Alpha 3 and set it to like the hardest mode and just get my ass handed to me.
Yeah, sometimes that does work. Sometimes when you're angry, you just like play a really hard game and get your ass kicked a few times. And I think I did that a couple weeks ago when I was sick. I just started goofing off. I think it was with Tekken 6 and playing on a hard mission and getting my ass kicked a few times. I'm like, God freaking damn it, stupid beat.
Okay, since we're talking about fighting games, Dragon Ball is coming out. I gotta get this
Mm.
game.
Yeah,
It's got to be in my life.
it must
When
be.
is that? Oh yeah, is that Friday? Because I remember it had like a weird date. It was like a 26th or something like that, which is a Friday.
Yeah, it's sometime this upcoming week. Yeah, hold on, because I'm gonna be getting Monster Hunter sometime this week. So let's see.
That's another game I want to play, but I know I'll lose all my life to that game.
I'm willing to sacrifice my life for the greater good. Let's see. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. When are you coming out? When is your release date? Because I don't remember. It's saying pre-order. That doesn't tell me much. What I want to know, January 26th. So in 2 days it comes out.
Yeah, that's weird. They usually don't release games on a Friday.
Yeah, I think they normally release them on a Wednesday or a Thursday.
Yeah, that's
I think
odd.
that's normally the go around because I think that's when. Hold on.
I think, doesn't Monster Hunter come out the same day, or is it next week, next Tuesday?
No, it comes out this week. I just double checking and making sure. It may have come out today. No, it comes out the 26th as well.
Yeah, that's weird.
Interesting time choice.
What are they trying to beat? Who is releasing something that they're trying to get around?
Why would you release Monster Hunter World on the same day when Dragon Ball Z comes out? It's a little weird.
It may not be the same crowd. That's probably what they're banking on.
Well, yeah, obviously it's not the same crowd. But yeah. I mean, I if I had the money, I'd probably buy the Dragon Ball Fighter Z game too, but maybe. I'm not a huge fan of 2D fighters, but I do like goofing around with them a bit.
I prefer the 2D fighters more. Maybe it's just because I'm older or old. I can say old now.
I'm old. I'm old too. I just never was a big fan of Street Fighter.
I wasn't either, but I was really good at Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I was good at that. And then like Alpha 3 was my game for years. And then they used the sort of the Alpha engine and the Alpha sprites for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And I was like the king of that. I would just devastate people. I wouldn't even use the super combos. I get Guile and I just jack you out with Guile. I wouldn't even use anybody else. I just have the other two there just to tag them in. And then when I was ready to destroy you, I'd have all three of them attack you at once.
Yeah. I like more of the, I have had more fun with 3D fighting games, or at least I found them more accessible to myself. I don't like the quarter circles or the Z style access with the analogs or with whatever form of stick you prefer. It irritates me more often than not. I'm like, oh my God, this is so annoying.
So you just use the D-pad?
Even if I use the D-pad, it irritates me.
Oh, okay.
I think for a while I was more of a fan of SNK because it just felt a bit more accessible and a bit faster.
Yeah.
Street Fighter was pretty slow, and I just normally sucked at it in general. So it's like, I don't want to play Street Fighter very much.
Well, it depends on which one you play. Like the Alpha series is a little bit faster.
I think I remember playing Alpha, but I don't. Oh wait, no. Yeah, I think I played Alpha. I think I played Third Strike at one point too, and Third Strike was okay.
Third Strike is okay, but if you don't know how to parry, you're screwed.
Yeah. Well, the biggest problem I've always had with first fighting games is when they like decide it's like, okay, here's the final boss fight. Prepare to get angry.
Yeah.
And a lot of those games do that, and so many times. And normally every time when there's a new game that comes out that's a fighting game, they put in a new boss. I normally think, my God, this is the worst boss I've ever fought. And it doesn't matter what fighting game it is. I hate them. Every single time. It doesn't matter who it is. I struggled with it through all the Tekken games, through Soul Calibur. Well, Soul Calibur, not as much. Soul Calibur, for some reason, the bosses don't bother me as much. But with Street Fighter or with anything, I mean, I recently finished Injustice 2. Same thing. I hate fighting Brainiac. Brainiac is an asshole, and he's not even the final battle. He's just a dick.
I have never been able to get a good grasp on the Mortal Kombat, like their button layout.
Yeah.
I've never been able to do that very well. And I had all the Mortal Kombat games when they came out, and I was okay in Mortal Kombat 3 Annihilation. Not Annihilation. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I was pretty good at that, but only with certain characters. Like Rain, Sub-Zero, Sonya Blade, Jax. But for whatever reason, I've never been able to get their engine to work for me, just to be able to get that game flow. And when I got Injustice, it was either cheap or it was free for the PlayStation Plus. So I was able to just download it. And I tried getting through it, and it's like I just couldn't do certain moves. And it's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. I think it's Injustice 2's engine felt a lot better than Injustice 1, but the problem is that, especially nowadays, because they decided that you know how you have like wireless controllers, there's always an input lag no matter what game you're playing.
Yeah.
So I've realized this over the course of time while playing Injustice 2. It's like, this is the controller, isn't it? This has to be the controller. I'm pressing the buttons, but I'm still not doing what I want to do.
Maybe that was what was going on with me, because I didn't really think about that when I was playing it. I keep forgetting that there is the lag.
There's like about a 2 to 3 second delay.
But you know what? That actually would affect when you're trying to do really long or very quick inputs where they need to be done as quickly as possible. That could actually affect it. That's probably what was going on. Son of a bitch.
It could be that. I know my friend Rabbit, he's talked about this at length before when it comes to platform games, because he's always like, there's like that 1 second to a second half to 2 second delay with an input button, with the jump or with any action. When he was like playing through all the Mega Man games, like on the PlayStation 4, it's like there's an input lag, which is not good, considering that the game requires precise timing and movement. And if you're off by just the wrong amount, you're gonna die. You're gonna die.
Does it make a difference if you like plug in the USB cable?
I don't know. It might.
I don't think it's reading it from the cable. I think it's still doing it wirelessly, and you're just charging the controller. But maybe not.
You might be on something, because I normally play with my PS4 controller plugged in all the time. And
and you still have the lag?
And I think the lag's still there. It's either that or I just genuinely suck at fighting games, which is true. I suck unless it's Soul Calibur, then I'm okay, but
the one that I want that's really proper is a Naruto game. That's the one that I want to be done like they're doing Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Because
they've done a
is so
few.
Cool, but they haven't really done it the way that needs to be done. It's more of a button masher. So
yeah. I think that, I don't remember. No, I think during the PS2 era, there was one Naruto game where it was basically a button masher. It kind of felt a lot like Smash Brothers.
They're all like that.
Yeah.
Like it's if you've ever played like Kingdom Hearts, where it's one button does everything. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's like you keep pressing the button. It's like maybe press up, maybe press down, maybe press back, maybe you press forward. But it doesn't, the timing is so weird that it's really hard to actually control it. You'll chain combos, but it's really hard to actually think about chaining combos, because your hand just naturally wants to go to another button. It's like, no, just keep pressing this one button.
Yep. Press A to win, or press one button to win.
Oh, you mean
Those
like
are
Final
always
Fantasy 15?
no,
Where
yeah.
that is, I have a lot of criticisms for the game. I like the game, but the one
Already
that
did
drove
it.
me mad was that just hold the button, it'll do everything for you. That
I
just
al-
pissed me off.
I already did it. There is at least a 20-minute long rant with a car drive included. Just to emphasize, I did that video like I think about the same week the game came out. I only played it for a few hours and I was like, I am officially done. I hate this game. I almost hate it more than Final Fantasy 13. And that's saying something considering
Wow.
how much I hate 13. Because these characters are just as bad.
I didn't hate the game. I enjoyed playing it, but I didn't like that it wanted to play itself. That was
Yeah.
what bothered me. And it was obvious that it was unfinished. And so there are moments in there where you're like, if you had done what Nomura wanted to do, this actually would have been a really good game. But he's trying to juggle like 4 different projects at once. Like, dude, where's my Kingdom Hearts 3 game? That's what I want.
That was what I bought a PlayStation 3 for. And I waited 10 years. Well, not quite 10 years because I didn't have it for all 10 years of its lifespan. But I waited very patiently.
One of my
And I
friends
never
has
got it.
gone through puberty and he is now an adult, and there hasn't been an actual sequel to Kingdom Hearts. That's how long it's taken. The boy's become a man, a grown man, and like, where's
Yeah.
the sequel?
It's like, let's keep that in mind. He's a full-grown adult now. Oh
He just turned 18 though, so
yeah,
it just happened on the 13th. He was very proud of it.
yeah.
Very proud of becoming an adult. He wanted to throw an I'm legal party, and his father wouldn't let him.
But it's, oh gosh, 15 was a problem. It's like you had so much anticipation going into this game. Me, I wasn't expecting much because it's like, oh well, I'm already kind of burnt out from Square Enix's stupid bullshit already, and I've been dealing with it for years. So it's like, okay, let's give 15 a shot. Let's at least try and hope to Bahamut that it actually is decent. But it has so many
they
problems.
keep adding things to it, and they're finally fixing it. Then they're doing this re-release that they're gonna do. That I saw, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to get it, but I kind of don't. Hopefully, whatever they're doing will be included with the season pass that I bought.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like, come on, man. This is the game you should have released. Why do you keep adding stuff to it? And then,
DLC.
Yeah, it just drives me.
They
One of
added
my friends will not buy
giant-
games anymore because of that. That's stopped him from buying games. It's just because they don't complete it. And then he has to purchase extra stuff to get the actual game.
Yeah. That's a problem when you add entire chapters or story segments to an entire game. I mean, I believe that I don't know if they gave all of those DLC packs for free initially. No. I don't know. But
you have to have a season pass in order to get them for free. So you're really not getting them for free. You're paying for it.
Stupid. It's ridiculous because these were like major plot points and whatnot. And they're supposed to be filling in the gaps when everybody apparently splits up.
Yeah.
And it explains everything that happens to everyone after they come back after, I guess, a few more hours of gameplay. And it's like, oh, look, they're all back. Oh, wait, one's blind. Oh, look, one has more scars now than he did before. And it's like, what happened? And basically the answer is you should have seen the other guy, basically. It's like, this is not story.
Game.
There's a major chunk missing. At least have them reference it or something. Just a little. It doesn't have to be spoiled the entire story for me. Just reference it like, well, man, I could tell you all about it, but it's a long story, and let me just sit down and tell you. Whatever happened, I never thought in a Square Enix game that I would get to the point where I'm like, I want like a half-hour long cutscene explaining shit to me. Because right now, I'm not getting much out of this game.
You really have to watch the movie in order to even understand what was causing the game to happen. And when I realized that, I'm like, whoa, because I watched the movie just to watch it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is really good. And then I played the game and I'm like, wait a minute. If you didn't watch this film, none of this makes any sense.
And I skipped the film entirely. I didn't watch it. And then that was one of the main comments I got like in my comment section for my video, it's all like, shouldn't the game be able to stand up on its own 2 feet without the movie and the animated features?
Oh yeah.
Shouldn't it be able to stand on its own 2 feet and be able to entertain me?
And Samurai Raccoon said that the Final Fantasy games after 7 weren't that good, and 9 was the only exception. I disagree. I really enjoyed 12. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I really enjoyed 12.
12 has a great story. It's even better than 7's.
Yeah.
In my opinion. 7 has a good story. Don't get me wrong. I like 7. And I even enjoyed 8 because 8 was the first one that I played. And then I moved backwards and went to 7. But 12 has a really good story. That's the only reason why I feel like it's been bogged down is because you put Van in when Van is like so inconsequential to the plot.
Yeah.
You don't need him. You could completely remove him and you'll have a much better story. But
it really could have been about Ash.
Yeah.
Or Brad Pitt. I mean, Bosch.
Yeah.
Because they totally used Brad Pitt's face for that character. Yeah. They could have been sued.
And Bosch is cool. And oh, what was the name of the pirate? I forgot his name. Shoot.
I got the game right here, actually. I opened it. I played it for like 10 minutes, and then I stopped playing.
Oh, no.
It wasn't. I've played it before because I have it on the PS2. Oh, where's his name? It's not on there. It'll come to me eventually.
I think his name was Balthier.
Yes, Balthier. That's what it was. Yeah.
I liked him. He was cool.
Yeah, you know he was totally banging that rabbit chick.
Fran?
That's nasty. Yeah, that's nasty. But you know they were doing it.
Yeah, I mean they're together long enough. I have to assume that's what they were doing.
What I really liked about the game though was the art direction.
Oh yeah,
they based it on like old European, mostly Spanish and Portuguese architecture with a little bit of Mesoamerican stuff thrown in. Yeah. And the look of it is exactly like this fantasy novel that's been in my head for years. I'm like, that's what it looks like. That's how you blend the two. That's what I want. It was just an awesome art design.
I mean, they also, if I remember correctly, the world that they live in or where the story takes place is Ivalice. So
yes.
And Ivalice is the same world where all the tactics games come from.
Those are good games.
They're fantastic. Well, I especially like the first one. I'm not a huge fan of the advanced version. It's fun, but I had issues with it. Oh my god. When I tried Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced, I got really pissed off with the judge system. I'm like, why are you limiting what I'm supposed to be able to do? Why are you telling me rules? What is this? This is a strategy game.
Say hi to Doug real quick. Huh? Douglas Ernst is here. We're sorry that we're you have to choose between a hangout and this live stream.
Oh.
Flip a coin.
What do you do? Spokesman Studios invited me to a hangout. Well, go do it.
Yeah. This will still be up. We'll talk.
Yeah, you can talk to me. You can talk to us later. I don't know how long this will go. It's all dependent on how long we feel like talking. Or if we run out of things to say, which is a very strong possibility. Eventually it will happen. I mean, right now, you're not missing much. We're not even talking about comic books right now.
Well, you did mention there was something else that you wanted to talk about. What was the other one? You got the one from Bleeding Cool.
Well, aside from the Bleeding Cool stuff, we kind of covered already, didn't we?
Yeah. What was the other one?
I think that the other thing I was going to talk about was Comic Storian, and Doug's here. he knows all about that.
Perfect timing. Yeah.
But the thing that this is something that happened with both Comic Store. I can't talk apparently. Comic Storian and Comics Explain both have done videos in the past that I watched, like at least about over a year or so ago, talking about the problems that Marvel has been having. Not from the political angle, but just from the general angle of taking away everybody's favorite characters and replacing them with ones that either nobody likes or isn't interested in.
Yeah.
It's like, and when you change it so drastically, and it wasn't like, oh, it's only one or two. the entire board got wiped clean and replaced practically. The only one who stayed was Spider-Man. That's
well, not really, because they completely emasculated him.
Well, aside from emasculating Peter, he's still there and he's still Spider-Man. That's what I'm trying to say. But everybody else was pretty much virtually replaced. All the main heavy hitters for the last few years were gone. Cap, gone. Iron Man, gone. Thor, gone. It's like you replace them all. And I remember Comicstorian's video. I do. I remember him saying the analogy, he treated it like it was a restaurant. It's your favorite restaurant. And then you go in and you order what you usually order. And then you go back and everything is different. Or, you know, they change a few things in the menu. And you're like, okay, that's fine, but I'll stick around and you might try the new stuff. And then you go back again and the entire menu is different. New everything. And there's nothing familiar. And
yeah, that's pretty much what they did.
Yeah, and his explanation was very well thought out. That's like, yes, that's exactly what's happening. The reason why so many people are upset, it's not so much about the politics, it's the fact that where's my favorite character? Normal people, or at the very least people who aren't going to look at it from a political side, or people who are new, you know, like the people coming from the films, they're looking for the characters that they've just seen on screen or the characters that they're familiar with. Like,
that's the part that really baffles me about it is you do this as you have. I think they did the change right as Civil War was coming out.
Yeah.
Didn't that happen? That was like 2014, right?
Yeah, they did it about a year. They did the changes a little bit before Captain America's Civil War. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you're putting these people on screen. You know that you're going to have that nice little synergy. It's like, oh, I want to go check out these characters. They go into the comic book store and they're not in the books. They go to pick up the trades, and if you can still find a bookstore open, they're not in the books. This is like, you don't want money. That's all that you can say about that, is you literally do not want cash, because that's the easiest way to get cash.
What? Today he tweeted about, it would be weird. He would be weirdly obsessed with talking politics if he did a live stream with you. I'd act like someone dumb talking head on. What the frick? That's a problem. Comicstorian has, I mean, he said it on his channel even after that fact. Because people were asking, like, where is the Marvel content? And he said it very plainly. It's like, I'm not reading Marvel right now. I'm not.
The thing is that there's no way, like Doug was saying, there's in his video about it, there's no way to talk about what's going on at Marvel without talking about the politics, because that's part of what's going on that's causing the problem. You have to talk about it, and you don't have to get like overtly political about it, but just admit there's a very hardcore far left slant to it. It's not like a kind of, I like you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe we'll have a gay character here and we won't, you know, he'll just be gay and that's it. He'll just be gay and we'll be done with it. No, it's like, this is the new Iceman. He is gay, girl. It's like, that's what they did. And of course, every other character is like this. You have, like, we got this Latina woman, and then we got this person, we got that person, and all across the board you do it. And then whenever anybody questions it, the first words out their mouth is bigot. You have to talk about that. Like, you can't get around that. That's part of what's hurting the sales, is that you're taking away the characters people like, replacing them with these like Walmart versions of them, and then going like, I don't know what the problem is. We know exactly what the problem is. You have shitty direction. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, and Comicstorian's problem is he stuck his head in the sand for too long. Yeah, I have an understanding of why both him and Rob kind of don't talk about it all that much. I get it. I understand why. You have a very large audience and you don't want to anger, which could potentially be a large subset of your audience. Yes, that could happen, or it could not. We don't know, you know. It would all depend. Obviously, we don't want you guys to do the same things that we do. That's entirely up to you. And also, neither Comicstorian or Rob are reviewers. They're not. They can't claim to be, because they don't look at books critically. Even if we remove the more political stint to most of these books, you're still not reviewers.
Yeah.
You're recap doctors. That's all you do. You recap what happens. Pretty much verbatim in a lot of cases. I mean, it's great for someone like either myself or others who can't afford to buy every single comic. But at the same time, don't go thinking that you're you're a be all end all in the industry and say that your opinion matters more so than somebody else's or anything like that. I mean, the problem I have mainly with Rob, because when I did my video about Rob, where I got very angry and I yelled into a microphone for almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was not a fun time for me because I just was pissed at him for some reason. I don't know why. But the problem with Rob is he's exceedingly arrogant. Not only did he flip-flop, he's also arrogant. So it doesn't matter Rob, no matter what happens going forward, Rob's not going to talk to us. It'll be probably a cold day in hell. Hell will freeze over, and the devil will be wearing a tutu and skates before he shows up.
Is that just because of how many subs he has? Like it's gone to his head?
He's been arrogant for a long time. There are videos, because this is what somebody pointed out to me. Because I had completely forgot about this, but that one, the YouTuber Rags, who talks a lot about PC games and all that stuff, Rob had a video talking about his rig and basically insulting people who make cheaper rigs and who, say, well, I have a cheap rig. I only paid like $300, but still better than, your PlayStation 4 or whatever. And saying like, it's still a PC. It's still better than what the console users get most of the time, because it's just, in a sense, it's overall better, Yeah. The only thing that's holding you to a console is whatever exclusives the company can manage to pull out their ass, which is what makes me buy consoles. But because it's like, I want to play my games. Okay. There are games that I can't play on the computer, no matter how much I want to. But Rob was incredibly arrogant, talking about, oh, look at my PC. I paid over $2,000 for this thing and blah, blah, blah. And he got demolished. His arguments and his discussion was entirely demolished by Rags. And it's like, yeah, I can see why some people would say it's like, he's just an arrogant prick. And I don't remember when, but there was at one point when I think he was doing a Periscope or something to that nature. And I was watching it for a bit. And he basically told anyone who was fans of Peter and Mary Jane's marriage, basically that, you're just stupid nerds who've never had sex before.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm like, well, that's exceedingly arrogant. How do you know that, Rob? Have you been in everybody's bedrooms? How do you know, Rob?
He's a fan of Brand New Day, I'm taking it.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I mean, they don't technically espouse their opinion about how they feel. I mean, obviously,
I thought he was singing the praises of what's his face, Thick Spencer. Wasn't he? Didn't he do that? Where he was like, Secret Empire is like the greatest thing ever.
He did that. Yeah, he said that countless times that he actually really liked Secret Empire and he thought it was. Oh yeah, I don't remember what video he did it in, but he did say that it was going to be it's going to be a comic book that's going to be remembered. It's going to be a classic or something like that. Oh yeah, it's going to be remembered for all the wrong reasons, not for positive ones, Rob. It's going to be remembered for these are the failings of comic books. It's right next to One More Day. This is what you want to avoid.
I'm still surprised that Marvel let Nick Spencer do that.
I'm shocked too.
Of all the dumb things to do, where you can just, like, DC Comics would never, ever, ever let you do that to Superman. They were so hardcore about this that there was this little boy. This was a couple of years ago. There was a little boy
At least
who had
not in
been.
main continuity. They're not going to do
No,
it.
they'll let you do it in like a side project, but they were so concerned about Superman looking bad. This kid he had been abused and he died from like what had been done to him. But he was a big fan of Superman. So the town decided that they were going to put a memorial up for the boy, and they had him in like a little statue, and they put the Superman S shield on his chest, on his shirt.
Yeah.
And like Time Warner contacted them, like, no, you got to take that off because we don't want Superman associated with child abuse. Like nobody's associating him with child abuse. They making the connection that the boy likes Superman. Come on. But that was like, that's what Superman is that you don't even want him like Superman child abuse in the same sentence. No. Marvel's like, you want to turn Captain America into a Nazi? Go ahead.
It's fine. It's not like it's going to culturally impact anything. It's not going to piss anybody off. Well, wait, no, let's rephrase that because we know that's exactly what they want. They want people angry because they think that it improves sales.
It crashed the sales. I mean, I've never seen an event do that badly where it's continuing to just like tank each month. And it like that, I think the last couple of issues had a little bit of an uptick, but overall it was like it was dragging everything else down with it. Because all those tie-ins were like tied into Secret Empire. And it's like, this is just terrible.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I don't understand how people could be so stupid or inept to take characters that are cherished by pretty much the entire globe and just destroy them for the sake of what? Maybe a few more sales, potentially?
No, I think they did it because I don't think they did. I think it was Nick Spencer who pushed for it. And I think what it was that he didn't expect the response that he got. He thought when he had Cap say Hail Hydra, people were going to think it was clever. And instead people lost their minds. And then he couldn't get it back. Like it was a month between the next issue. So there was a month for people to just ruminate on it. And, you know, he can't spoil the event. So he can't say anything to go, no, it's not the real Cap or something like that. So he had to double down on it. And when he doubled down on it, it was just like, that's it. People are done. And this is before Secret Empire is even happening. So by the time that happens, he ends up having this event where now he has to write this and he just starts hate writing the comic. And then Donald Trump becomes president. And he's like, well, I don't like that bastard either. And so he just wrote this all like this very hateful book where he's just venting and he's just ranting and raving about his politics and how he doesn't like where the country is. And it's turned to fascism. Like, you don't know what fascism looks like, you idiot. Yeah. And then it was done. And then he did that follow-up issue. And that was the one where I was just like, you know what? I'm going to have to cuss you out now. Because that follow-up issue was unbelievable where he's gaslighting the fans. Like, oh, no, you like Captain America? No, you're the problem. If you didn't like him, this wouldn't have been a problem. Like, get the fuck out of here, man.
No one likes you, Nick. Get the hell out.
What book did they put him on? They're putting him on something else.
I don't know.
What was it? Was it Black Panther? What they were going to put him on?
Oh, dear Lord.
They were going to put him on something really like weird.
If they put him on anything, just put him on something very small, very, quite honestly, he shot his credibility with Secret Empire and the Captain America stuff. No matter what he does, he's going to end up being synonymous with that. Doesn't matter what he does in the future. Even if he writes something amazing, which, you know, it's slightly possible. Even if he does, it's not going to matter. No one's going to buy it.
That's going to be the problem. That's the thing that
Amazing Spider-Man, they're not going to do that. Not after the backlash they got with Cap. If they did that, boy, they would basically be... Not only would they have already shot themselves in the foot a few times, by this point, it would be all the way up to their waist.
I think it is a Spider-Man book, though.
It could be.
It might be a Spider-Man book. I'm not sure. It might be Amazing Spider-Man. I don't remember because I know they were shuffling people around. Yeah. But I think this was before they were moving Dan Slott. So I don't know what the change is now, especially with CB Cebulski in there. I don't know, what he's going to shuffle around.
Well, what CB should probably do is not put Nick on anything for a while. I think that's probably why we haven't seen Nick very much in any of the books and whatnot, is because they're probably trying to silently keep him out of the spotlight so they don't get into trouble.
Or maybe he fell under a pile of his own books.
That
because
could be.
nobody bought them.
That's a strong possibility. Maybe Marvel just shipped all of his unsold books back to him. Just like,
The
here,
only
you can
thing I
have
think
them, Nick.
funnier than seeing all those unsold single issues is seeing the unsold trades in hardcover, no less. Hardcover. You release, it's like a $40, $50 book.
Yeah.
Nobody bought the single issues. Why would you even bundle it together? Just let it go. Just
Yeah. It's not like anybody needs to buy the hardcover variant. They could just go into the discount bin and probably find all the issues there for a lot cheaper.
it was ridiculous when I was going into the comic book store. The Dick Spencer thing was real because I mean there were like 4 columns of this thing and they were packed from 0 to the last issue, like 10. It was insane. Like nobody had bought these books.
Yeah.
No one was even touching them. And I come back a week later and the only thing that it done, they just moved it over to the side to add more space for all the extra books that Marvel was sending them that they didn't ask for. That was it. And this was in 3 different comic book stores here in Chicago: Graham Crackers, Challengers Comics, and then it was like a Chicago Comics. And it was the same thing in all 3 of them. They had these big old rows of just unsold Secret Empire in America. That was the other one that nobody could just get rid of. Nobody bought that book.
DC's done a lot of stupid things in the past, but they've never done as bad as what Marvel's been doing. It would take a lot of stupidity for something like that to happen, and I don't think Dan Didio is stupid enough to do that. Well, at least I certainly hope he isn't stupid enough.
No, he makes different kinds of mistakes, but that's not one of them. He wouldn't, I don't think he would allow that to happen because he likes those characters. Now, the characters he doesn't like Nightwing, he cannot stand Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
And that's just been like a running thing. I've heard that so many times. Like he hates this character. So you'll notice like after he got in, he just doesn't like him. He just doesn't like the character at all. And so you'll notice that since he got into power, he just puts him in like crappy books, doesn't really care what happens to the character, tries to screw him over, kill him off, doesn't care.
Yeah. Final Crisis and New 52. Yes. He also did Countdown to Final Crisis.
Yeah.
Or that was his brainchild. Which, from what it sounds like, the words that he put, it's like, it's better than 52. It's like, that's a very objectionable question, Dan. I don't think you're accurate on that one. I've never read Countdown, but I've seen it, and from what I've seen, it doesn't look very good. I've actually read some of 52. Yeah, 52 is better. I've only read like the first 6 issues of it. But still, it's better than Countdown to Final Crisis.
Dan DiDio made Beast Machines. Are you kidding? Did he really?
Really? Is that true? Is that true statement, Smaxo? Or are you pulling my leg?
I liked Beast Wars. I hated Beast Machines.
Yeah, Beast Machines not very good. It had some decent moments, but overall, I barely watched that one. I was like, oh, a new series of Beast Wars? Hell yeah, I'm right on board. Because when the first Beast Wars came out, I never missed an episode in the morning. But nope, not feeling this one.
I wanted to like it, but it was so different, and it was not what I was used to that I just didn't. I couldn't get into it.
Yep, that's a fair one. Hello, Xander. How are you? I've never seen you here before. Welcome. How are you doing? Concept-wise, it was a good idea, I think. But
but the problem is that it's following a much better show.
Yeah.
That was a problem.
I think my biggest problem was I didn't like the new design of everybody. It just looked terrible. I was just like, I don't like this design. I mean, I suffered through all of the weird, like, transmetal stuff and whatnot. But this is just weird. I mean, I guess animation style wise, at least it looked better. Than the old Beast Wars and whatnot. But still, at the same time, it just doesn't look good.
I vaguely remember what it looked like because it's been so many years. I pretty much only watched it when it came on, and then when they went off, I was done.
Yep.
I didn't even get any of the toys because I was buying the Beast Wars toys.
Oh yeah,
I got the Megatron and the Optimus Primal, the ones when they were transmetal. So when Megatron turned into a dragon.
Me and my brother had the classic ones.
Oh yeah,
when they were just a gorilla and a T-Rex.
Well, the dragon one is awesome because the mouth like opens and it can transform into I think like 3 different modes, and then the Optimus Primal is the same thing, can transform into a bunch of different modes. Yeah. And it's huge. It's gigantic. It's so much bigger. So they actually made them like real to their size in the show.
Oh yeah.
So
everybody matched their sizes pretty well. Rat Trap's figure was really small. Cheetor was like mid-level, and then Optimus is just massive.
Yeah, that thing was so cool. The problem was that he's not very he wasn't very sturdy. Or he wasn't very well balanced is probably the better way to put it. So if you put him in his robot mode and you tried to stand him up, you needed to prop him on the wall or actually open his fingers and like let them like rest on the floor so he could stand up. Otherwise, he'd just go crashing down.
Yeah. Just absorbing the spark of Optimus Prime. I wasn't really a huge fan of his final stage. Didn't really care for that one very much. He just got really, really tall. And I was like, why did you get so big? Is it because of the Optimus thing?
Yeah, that was what it was.
For a while, it's just, well, for the most part, they didn't put him in beast mode very often, not like Megatron, because Megatron was always in dragon form.
Yeah.
For a lot of the show, but they didn't put Optimus in beast form very much. He was kind of just always in either robot form or not in robot form. No, wait, mostly robot form. The entire time, I'm like, doesn't he have other forms?
I'm not sure why they didn't do it, but
yeah, I think they did it a couple of times when he was, in gorilla form, but it wasn't very often. But well, I mean, since we're talking about Beast Wars, what's a favorite episode of yours?
Let's see, man, it's been a while since I watched it. The one where Raptor actually turned good. That was a good episode. Dinobot, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. When he finally sort of came over to their side, that was actually pretty cool.
Well, that was one of the first episodes.
Yeah. And then later on in the series, when what's her face? Arachnia?
Black Arachnia, yeah.
Black Arachnia. Yeah, when she came over and she started the one where she was she had the romance with what's his face?
Silverbolt. I like Silverbolt.
That was awesome when they started like to fall for each other. I really liked that episode.
Oh yeah. That was fun. Favorite episode, The Low Road. I can't remember what The Low Road was. I don't remember the titles of episodes most of the time. But I have like all 3 seasons, and I've watched them on repeat more than once. So please don't say Starscream. Why not? It was a fun episode. I like that one. I like the one when Waspinator gets taken over by the spark of Starscream. It was funny. Although his voice was very annoying.
Yes.
But I actually kind of like that voice better than the Waspinator voice. But
true. That is true. That was not a very fun voice.
Well, I think it was that I don't think they could get the guy who did the original Starscream voice because I think he passed away.
Yeah.
So, or they just couldn't hire him at the time. I don't remember exactly. No, Rhinox beat Megatron by farting. Yes, this is a true statement.
Yeah. I try to forget stuff like that.
That was just the more campier and stupid stuff from the show. Well, yeah, it wasn't Chris Latta doing the voice of Starscream. But I still think that the guy they got was a pretty decent replacement, But he was just very high pitch for some reason. I don't know why they decided with that. I know Starscream's a bit high pitched, but he wasn't that bad.
What did you think about the I guess it's not recent, it's probably like 10 years ago now, but the animated series that they did recently where they had them and they were sort of like similar to the Michael Bay films, but they actually looked better?
Transformers Prime?
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. What did you think about that one?
I thought it was a pretty good Transformers show. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't remember very much of it, but I thought it was a pretty decent Transformer show compared to some of the other outings they've had either recently or what have you.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first season. I think I watched all the first season and most of the second, and then I kind of lost track of when it was coming on.
Peter Cullen returned. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the reason why I watched it, was because I recognized that voice. And like, oh my God, I gotta watch this. And then
Yeah.
what do you think about the Michael Bay films?
God, they're terrible. I liked the first one. I think the first one's a serviceable movie. It's not great, but I thought it's like, oh, that was fun. And the sad thing is I have at least have the first 3 on DVD, and I don't know why. But after a considerable amount of time, I just lost interest. I'm like, you just can't draw robot fights. You can't get robot fights that not only are engaging, but don't look like a bunch of mashed up car parts tumbling down the street. It's terrible. It's like, this is Transformers. I understand you have to spend time with human characters. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't care. I'm here for the robot fights. Could you at least give me robot fights that don't look like a mangle of parts? And the problem, I think one of the bigger problems I had is that all the Decepticons end up looking the same.
See, I only watched the first one, so I don't know anything about the rest of it. I know about some of the controversy with the second one with the 2 characters where like they're racist. I know about that, but I only watched the first one. The first one was enough. I'm like, I'm done.
Skid and Mudflap, yes. Yeah. Racial stereotypes, yay. And also Devastator having literal balls.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Yeah. Why? What possesses you to do that? I don't know. Give me Transformers Armada. Seriously. I want to go back to that. Can I have a Transformers Armada show where the Transformers look like the original Transformers for the most part, just updated?
That was the problem that I had with the movie to begin with, was that they didn't make them look like the actual characters. You're animating it. Jesus Christ, it's not real. You're animating it. Those cars on that car commercial, remember they had like the dancing transforming car?
Yeah.
Those look better than the Transformers in the Transformers movie. That's a sin. Yeah.
That's how bad it is. It's like there are better ways to animate. They don't, I mean, a more modern version of the characters, sure. That's fine. I have no issue with that. Just they need to look like the characters. And most of them don't look like anything. Megatron doesn't really look like Megatron half the time. Sometimes he does. I think in the first one, he looked like a serviceable Megatron, just far more evil and with more claws for some reason, because claws make you more evil. I mean, obviously, we don't want him to transform into a gun because, that's just silly. Turn him into a tank. Sure, that's fine. I like that.
Well, I don't know. It's just sort of, I think his explanation for doing that was he wanted them to look alien.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're trying to pass as vehicles on Earth. So shouldn't their design, when they transform, mimic that as well?
Yeah.
Like that was the whole idea, is that they're transforming from this other thing. So shouldn't it copy that?
Yeah.
And it didn't. And so I'm like, no,
yeah, when a lot of them would transform back and forth, they don't look like the parts to the vehicle that they're supposed to be representing.
Yeah, you couldn't tell how they transform. And that was kind of the novelty of the Transformers, is that you could look at the design and figure out how they transformed.
Yeah. That was the joy and the gimmick of it when you would buy the Transformer toys and whatnot. It's like, oh, how do you go from car to robot? From point A to point B. And when you would buy the toy, it's like, oh, I see how this works. But with Michael Bay's robots, it's like, I don't know how we go from this to that.
Especially terrible design. Terrible design.
Hi, Chef Jack. How are you doing?
Hi, Chef Jack. Oh, your point is actually really good too. That you can't sell guns to kids anymore. So yeah, that's why they changed Megatron. Is just because of that.
He's a tank. He's carrying a giant gun on his head,
Yeah,
practically.
I can live with him being a tank, but the gun is cooler.
The gun was cool. I mean, when he turned into Galvatron, they made him into a cannon.
By the way, that is my favorite scene out of that movie when he shows up and Starscream is like Megatron, and he's like, "Here's a hint," and then he kills him. That was awesome.
That was cool. I really like that.
That is the only Transformers movie that counts. Nothing else counts.
Absolutely. I am in full agreement. That one's the only one that counts, except for that I blame Hot Rod for killing Optimus.
Yes, he
his
did
fault.
Do that. Yeah.
You can blame him for the death of Optimus Prime.
He is my favorite character, but I can't lie. He did start that. That was his fault.
Bad Hot Rod. But, you know, that's a thing. Anyone else like to fill in his shoes? No. I don't think anybody would want to fill in Megatron's shoes after he kills one of his top subordinates. I don't think you'd want to do that.
They just re-released that on Blu-ray, and they did like another upgrade to it. I got that, so now I have it 3 times on like Blu-ray or DVD, and then once on VHS.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they keep doing these like, you know, remasters of it. So the last one, when I first bought it, I had it on VHS because they had released it. I'm that old, people. Yes. I know I sound young, but I'm actually old enough to have had a VCR and grew up with a VCR.
Same.
Yeah. So I got it when they released it then, and then they released it on DVD. I bought that. Then they did like a remaster version of that. And so I'm like, okay, I'll buy that one. And they had like all these cool behind the scenes so you could hear, you know, all the stuff on there. And then the Blu-ray, I think, has most of what was on that DVD, and then some extra like interviews that they had done on the side. They weren't exactly the same, but it has the film in 2 formats where they do the theatrical release, like the widescreen, but it's actually cutting the animation. And I didn't know that until I actually went and watched the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That the original animation was done for like TV format. So when they do the widescreen, you're actually cutting out the top of the screen. Like, I didn't know that. So now I gotta watch it again.
Yeah. I think someone was I think Mr. Dystopian was asking about, aren't there Transformers that combine into bigger ones? Yes. They're called combiners for a reason. They even had an entire comic book line dedicated to the combiners. Orson Welles.
Quite a few of those.
Yeah. The combiners are cool. That's why I was disappointed in Michael Bay's Devastator. That's supposed to be the Constructicons. And they look like a giant bipedal animal for some reason with balls hanging off that are made out of wrecking balls. Why? Nobody knows. Because Michael Bay is weird and he needed to have a joke about that one guy being underneath his scrotum. I don't know why. It's just a thing. Because Michael Bay is weird. Yeah, Devastator is one of the better examples. He's cool. I like the more traditional Devastator. It's also why I liked that. What was it? It was that one Transformer game that came out about a year or so ago.
Devastation?
Yeah, it's a fun game. It's not bad.
Yeah, I got it. I think it was free on like PlayStation Network. Like
cool. I paid for my copy.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm used to paying for most of my games.
But I got addicted to just leveling up the character and creating new weapons.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just doing that. And then I found out that the team that created that game was also the team that created Nier. That came out.
Platinum games.
Yeah, I have it. I haven't played it. I bought it when it came out. I still haven't played it. I bought all the Kingdom Hearts remasters. I watched the intro to it. And then I haven't played it. I was going to play them in chronological order. So like Birth by Sleep and work my way through, but I haven't done that. I still have Ni no Kuni. I haven't even opened that one yet.
Oh, no.
Still in the plastic.
It happens, you know, you get busy and then you just don't have enough time for all of the fun stuff that you want to do. Like you don't have enough time for all the video games or all the comics you want to read or anything of that nature.
The comics I can usually make time for. That's
Yeah.
not really hard because I read pretty fast, so I can
Oh, yeah.
usually work my way through those. Um, the games, though, what'll happen is that I'll get addicted to the game, and then nothing else will get done. So I won't be drawing, I won't be writing, nothing else will happen.
So if you buy the Dragon Ball Fighter Z game, we're not going to hear from you for weeks, aren't we?
It's going to be about a week. Like I will just disappear off the face of the planet.
I believe that it will happen. You've heard it here
I took
first.
the day off to play Final Fantasy 15, and I told the guy, like I told the manager of the department, I have 1 day left that I have to take because it wouldn't carry over. So it's like I have to take the day. I'm taking this day so I can play a video game. And then I went and I had already pre-ordered it, so I went and got the game. I showed him the game. I showed him the gigantic strategy guide that came with it because I know my Final Fantasy games. I know I'm going to need this at some point.
Probably.
And he was really amazed by the cover of the game because it was the steel case version where it had the game and then the movie in it.
Yeah.
So he liked that, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, look at. I was obsessed with it. I played it. I played it for like 13 hours, and I had only done maybe like 1% of what you needed to do in the game. I hadn't even gone past the first chapter. I was just wandering around, just unlocking the map, just looking for stuff. So the game looks beautiful, and the soundtrack is pretty nice. I thought the voice acting was okay. I just didn't like that it wasn't a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
It's almost like the spirits within of the Final Fantasy game.
That's cool. Those are fun.
What was that?
The old Marvel Transformer comics. Heard they were really good, so that's cool.
I've never read any of those.
Anyway, you were saying?
No, I was just talking about Final Fantasy 15.
We can talk about Final Fantasy. We'll talk about whatever we want to talk about.
I am interested. What do you think is going to happen under Cebulski with Marvel? I'm just curious.
We haven't seen any. Well, aside from the canceled books and whatnot, we haven't seen a whole lot of. I don't know. Have we seen very much significant change? Because I don't read any Marvel books currently because of the situation that we found ourselves in, and that's been the case.
Most of those books are still from the Alonso stuff, so I don't think his stuff is going to start dropping until maybe March, April, somewhere around then.
What I would like to hear from Cebulski particularly, I want them to do kind of like what DC did a few years ago before Rebirth came out. I want to see them just sit down, talk about comic books for like about a straight hour and a half, show the teams, show what's going on, and explain everything that's going to be happening going forward. They're probably not going to do that because Marvel doesn't do that, which is a problem, especially for the comic book division. They don't do that because they don't promote the comic books enough, and then everybody forgets these comic books exist. I mean, even Jon Malin working on, Cable. People forgot that Cable was out. So, because Marvel doesn't promote the books. Yeah, he's doing... Yeah, Jack, you're right. He's doing subtle changes. He's not... Well, that was the thing. My brother was talking to me. I talked to my brother about the new editor, and he's like, I want the board cleaned completely. All the bullshit writers, all the bullshit artists, all that shit gone. He's like, wipe the deck, clean the slate, start over. I'm like, you can't do that. You can try, but I don't think it would work out in their favor.
You can if you bring in people who've already done that job before. Well, then you'd be able to do it. But if you're bringing in new folks, which I don't think they should do.
Yeah,
I think they should try to find some folks who've been in the industry for a while.
Yeah.
And then bring them back. What I really hope he'll do is start bringing back some focus on the artists.
Yeah.
Because that's what sells books. I know writers can sometimes do it, but let's be honest, it's a visual medium. And if that cover looks really cool, that's going to make someone buy a book before they see whose name is on it. Mm-hmm. And you need to have cool covers, and the cover artist needs to be the interior artist. We need to bring that back too, where whoever draws the cover is the same person in the book.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Because I'm kind of tired of seeing Alex Ross covers on Spider-Man covers and knowing that that's not the art you're going to get inside.
Yeah.
Don't get me
Well,
wrong.
I think
Alex
Imona
Ross
is pretty
book,
good though.
yeah, his covers are always nice, and he does good work. I like Alex Ross. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I think it's a waste of his time and energy and effort to make such beautiful covers for books that, nobody really likes. And the only people who are staying with the book are the ones who are completionists who want the entire Spider-Man run.
Yeah.
So they're the only ones who are technically buying and staying with the book. So
But I think if you bring in these artists
yeah,
who can sell a book and bring in new talent who are really good, not just somebody you just pulled off a Tumblr because you thought you could get them for cheap, but somebody who really knows what they're doing and has made comics, or you're at least going to put them through the process of doing that before you put them on something big. I think that would help. And that would be the other thing that I would love to see is them actually having people make books before they get put on a big book so that they can work out the mistakes that you're going to make when you're making comics, because everybody's going to do them. I've done it. Anybody who draws a comic, you're going to do that, and you need to get it out your system. You probably need to do at least about 10, 15 comics to be competent and be able to know what you're doing. And a lot of these folks who have been on there, they probably have never made a comic before, and you can tell.
Yeah. The paneling's normally bad. And Jack had some good points too. Yeah. You can't just wipe the slate clean. That was what you see. My brother is kind of weird that way because I guess that was just his take on it. It's like just wipe the board clean, get rid of everybody. I'm like, you can't. I told him it's like you can't do that. Imagine if you did that at the restaurant where you work. Would everything run smoothly? Especially if you, I mean, if Cebulski did it and he had already lined up all his backup, like all the creators he wanted to bring in,
then
I could see wiping the board clean. But that's not the case. Because, he wasn't, I was fairly certain he wasn't allowed to hire his own entire team. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
If it was at a restaurant, you could probably replace anybody within a couple of days. But this is a comic book industry, and you can't just wipe the board clean and expect to find new talent automatically. Also, you got to make sure
a lot of guys who are in the industry who haven't been getting work because maybe they're too old or whatever. Bring them back in. If they were good and people like their stuff, bring them back in. It's
what they did with the Superman comic books and whatnot currently.
Yeah.
He's an older writer.
He used to be an editor, and then he went to writing, and he's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, he was from the 90s era and whatnot, so he has mileage. He knows what he's doing. So when they did the Lois and Clark book, even before Rebirth came out, everyone was talking about it.
Yeah,
because he was writing it.
Need to do is do that, and I think it would help. I know Chef Jack, you were saying don't boot out the new crowd. I don't think wiping the slate clean boots those people out. I think what you have to do is remind them that this is not your sort of academia, college campus safe space. This is a space for everybody to enjoy a very particular type of storytelling. And that's what the focus has to be on, is that particular type of storytelling, not your politics. And if they're willing to stick around when they know that we're not going to just sit here and beat this drum of, hey, look, we got this, gay Hispanic woman, you want to read that? But no, here's America Sanchez. This is the world that she came from. These are her powers. This is how she's been, left out of her world. She's by herself. She's trying to figure everything out. That's going to be our story. If they're willing to stick around there, and then, during the course of the story, you find out that she dates women, fine.
Yeah.
But if they want it to be there, put a big old gold star lesbian on her forehead, well then, no, you got to go. Sorry.
Yeah, just leaving basically you might as well just put a t-shirt on him and saying that I'm gay and then move on.
Or do the claptrap that happened in Iceman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that, I don't remember. Someone was sharing tweets from Mags. I can't look at her tweets because
you're blocked.
Yep. The funny thing was I followed Mags because she got blocked by Nick Spencer. It's like this person can't be all bad,
And
can't
then blocked you.
Only after several months, I think it was at least about over a year because Nick blocked me over a year ago. for basically getting into an argument with him, saying like, your Captain America book sucks, it's not selling very well, and laying it out, and then he acted like an asshole to me. It's like, why? I can understand defending, the work that you're trying to do. I can understand that. Even I do that, but not being able to listen to someone saying, hey, just FYI, your book kind of sucks. Just saying, maybe you should do something, try and find a way to improve it. And just pointing out like, yeah, the sales numbers, speak otherwise when you tell me it's doing fine. It's like, yeah, the sales don't lie.
It's not doing fine, man. Your books are crashing. They're crashing and burning.
Yeah, it's like, and then he basically he almost started cussing at me and whatnot. I'm like, what in the hell is wrong with you? Why are you getting into a fight with me? You're being passive aggressive. You're attacking me for no reason. I was genuinely pissed at him just for being an asshole. And then it's like, oh, you're real mature. It's like, yeah, well, you started it, child. I could act childish too. It's really easily. I could hurl insults just like anybody else. It's not difficult. That's the easy man's way out. It's the easy way out of doing it. But you're the one who started it.
A lot of them do not try to diffuse the situation.
No, they don't.
So it escalates, and that's part of the problem that we're having, even with just the reaction that people have to stuff. If his reaction to people not liking what he did with Captain America was like, okay, wait, just let me tell the story. This is just one chapter in the story. It just started, right? We haven't even seen the title screen for the episode yet. This is just the cold open. Let me go, okay?
Yeah.
It would be like if you were watching Star Trek and, it's like Kirk is evil or, Picard has gone bad. And it's like, okay, yeah, but we haven't even shown the Star Trek thing yet. Let me get into the episode. Then you can rip me up. Let the episode finish. If he had done that and everybody was still pissed at him, well, then that's them. Yeah. But his response was, I never talked about it and do anything wrong. You're a bunch of bigots. Okay, now we're going to tear into you. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. He's very immature. Of course, most of I've noticed that it's been a habit of a lot of comic book writers, even ones that are much older. They act so immaturely to situations that could be easily solved by just saying, oh, I'm sorry you didn't like that. Hopefully you'll come back for the next one, or I'll try and do better next time. It's like, because it's really not that difficult to, diffuse the situation and just say, oh, you didn't like this particular chapter. Well, I hope you stick around, Yeah. Or at the very least, it's like, well, obviously this isn't your cup of tea. I wish you well and hope you can find something else to read. Is it so goddamn hard? No.
It is for them, because I think part of it is that they're around a group of people who all behave that way. So that's the expectation, is you're going to do it and you'll get away with it because everybody else does it. And the other thing is that, a lot of creative people, to be perfectly honest, don't grow up. Oh, yeah. So the mentality is still that of a teenager, and it's just how old of a teenager are you? 13? Are you 15? That's sort of where it is. And so that mentality, yeah, it basically is. It's like a bunch of high schoolers. So that's how they are. They just happen to be able to grow beards. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can be mildly childish, but I'm a kid at heart. So that's just kind of my thing. But even as a creator, if someone were to come up to me and basically tell me there's a problem, I'd probably want to at least hear them out at the very least and not shoot down everything they have to say. Yeah. It just doesn't, because there is that saying, it's like I don't even remember. You're not going to attract anybody. With how social media is nowadays, this is not how you attract new readers or customers.
It isn't, but the weird part is that they will go after people who are nice. I've seen them go after Ethan Van Sciver. I've seen them go after Sean Murphy. And it's like, why are you going after them? Like, they're both really, really polite online. And then you'll find somebody on either side who it just gets in their head. I'm going to go at them. And they're still very polite. And then they get to the point like, okay, you know what? I've had enough. Now let me put you in your place. And they're like, oh, why are you being mean to me? Dude, you've been going at him for 2 hours. What do you think he's going to do?
with that 2 hours, you could have been working on a comic book script or something. With how much time most of them waste on social media, you could be like finishing up storylines or finishing up artwork that you're working on.
Oh yeah, that was like that Alex DeCampi. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about all the money I've made in the industry you failed to get into. It's like, yeah, well, maybe you should talk about all the books you didn't sell because nobody knows who the hell you are.
There's that. It's like, why? Maybe that's a tactic to try and get people to notice their work. It's not gonna last long. It's short term. I would rather people just pick up a book and say, "Oh, who's this person?" And
all those sort of complaints from the milkshake crowd. If you look at the October numbers, didn't go up.
Yeah,
none of the Marvel books increased. So all those people who went and jumped onto Heather Antos's Twitters and like, oh my god, I'm a follower now, didn't buy any books she was editing. Just didn't do it. So the books are bombing. Where are all these people at? They keep saying there's an audience for this stuff. Where are they at? Because none of these books are selling. They're
an invisible audience that does not exist. Yeah. It's the same. Because I at least got some people who got mad at me for some of the stuff I said about Vox Day and whatnot. It's like, they're both, if he focuses on an invisible audience, he's not going to get anywhere. That's not to say I don't wish him well, It's like, hey, you're starting a publishing company for comics? Wonderful. If you make a lot of comic books that lean one way politically in, some form of extreme, you're not going to attract anybody, especially not the crowd that most of us are. We just don't want that much politics in the books to begin with. We just want stories to read.
Yeah.
We get enough bullshit about the politics on the news or on our feeds and everywhere else. It's like, you get to a point where it's like, enough is enough. We don't want it anymore. We don't want to hear about it. Can we just have a fantasy story where, dwarves and elves are in the middle of a conflict or something? No politics. They're just beating the shit out of each other for no reason or something.
Well, I think with Vox Day, he's trying to trying to do the other side is basically what it is. And
yeah, that was the argument.
It's not going to work is what the problem is that it's the intensity of the divide is such that I don't know that the books would get any play. That's the first problem, is that who's going to be talking about the books. If you look
I already saw one of the first published books. I'm like, you call that a background?
No, I'm not even talking about the book itself. I mean, in terms of who will talk about it. It's not going to appear on comic book resources or Bleeding Cool or anything like that, where they're going to be talking positively about it, no matter whether it's good or bad. They're never going to review it fairly because they don't agree with the politics. So the only place you're going to get any reviews are on conservative sites. And what's the likelihood that, your average comic book reader, more likely than not, is probably moderate, maybe leans a little bit to the left. They're not going to go on those sites. So they wouldn't even know the book is out. There's your problem.
Yeah, it's just, I think, I thought that the argument that somebody brought towards me was actually very funny. And then I saw him do the same. I found the same guy when Captain Frugal did a video. And I was like, wait, this is the same asshole who was on my video. And you're throwing the same argument at Captain Frugal, who was more nicer than I was. I'm like, really? I mean, you called me a hypocrite and a political activist. I was like, where did you get that from? Did I say anything? I mean, hypocritical? Maybe. It's a possibility. It can happen. But political activist? Nope, you got the wrong guy. This is a channel about comic books and nerd stuff. I don't like politics. Hate that shit. Get it out. The only reason why I talk about the social justice warrior stuff is because it's an invasion on a hobby.
Yeah. And now it's ruining it because people are going to start seeing this stuff where it's not there. And that's kind of like my problem. What happens with race in comic books, where it's gotten to the point where whenever you see a black character, the immediate assumption is that, oh, there's going to be racial politics in this story. Whether or not there will be, that's the assumption. Because every time you see the characters, it's always followed with that little race stuff. What they did with the Black Lightning TV show, same thing. I knew they were going to do it. I knew it. I could feel it. And then I started reading the reviews about it, and I'm like, yep, I knew.
Yeah. You just have to push it. Has to be thrown in there. It's like, come on, guys. Why can't anybody just write a story from beginning to end without having to rely on that? I guess it's just how it's kind of how the West just handles things nowadays. If we go
ourselves into this sort of political divide, and it just keeps getting more and more intense, and now it's bleeding into our hobbies, and that makes it, I mean, when you can't be entertained, there's a problem. You know, like what happened with Star Wars. Yeah. You're putting it in Star Wars. Jesus Christ, come on.
Putting it in Star Wars, and I mean, that's at least one out of dozens of problems with the movie. It's not just the political leaning coming from a hypocritical company that's making bank off the movie, but you have other just like bad story writing, bad everything. Well, I mean, it's not like Star Wars is perfect from the get-go, but still, there's better ways to write a script. And when you,
how about like talk to the guy who made the movie before the movie you made? Let's just do that.
Yeah.
How do you make?
That's what Mark Hamill told them to do.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking about talk to George Lucas. I mean, Rian Johnson never spoke to J.J. Abrams about Force Awakens. How do you not do that? You're making a sequel to his film. The man probably has all these things that he wants to do, all these plot points and subplot points that he set up. Call him and ask for that. He never did that. Apparently, they didn't have like a story Bible, which you would have on any of these movies. They didn't have this. So you're making a trilogy. You've announced it's a trilogy. And there are going to be 3 films. And you've even said when they're supposed to come out. But none of you dumbasses wrote a story Bible and gave it to the guy making the second film. So he just does whatever the hell he wants to do. And no one wants to correct him. Just, your movie deserves to bomb. And I love how he got taken out of China. Like, they're like, we're done.
Yeah, we're done. That was funny. It's like, that was where you were hoping most of your money came from, too.
Yep. We put an Asian in there. She's not the right Asian. They don't like Vietnamese. Don't you know this?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's just funny to kind of watch it. And I've seen people, you know, other people doing videos like talking about like how the merchandise is selling too. It's like, yeah, I can believe that. It's like,
oh, that's real. I mean, it's not. If you've not been into like a toy store or like a Walmart or Target recently, go in there. The toys look cheap, even in the packaging. Like you can just.
I have to wait another few months before my Walmart opens. The closest I have is a Fred Meyer's. So
they really do look cheap, and like when you just look at them, the plastic, they look like what happened? And they did. They lowered the production quality. So they're producing more stuff. They lowered the production quality. They're producing like really weird things, like the lightsabers. They're not as good as they were before. And the one that really pissed me off is they changed Anakin's lightsaber to Rey's lightsaber. That's not her lightsaber. It's Anakin's. It's always been his. That's what the fuck you call it. I don't like that. And
it's not hers.
The marketing on it has been terrible.
At the very least, you could just call it Luke's lightsaber at the very least.
Well, the part that kills me about it is all the stuff that was the most popular, the Darth Vader stuff, still very popular. They say, oh, well, everybody liked Kylo Ren, so we're going to have all that. But no, Vader is, Vader is a bigger sell because people like him more. But you go into any of these stores, you don't find anything with him. The same thing with like Luke. You don't find anything with Luke. It's almost gone. There's no Boba Fett stuff around anymore. Almost anything related to the prequels has been pulled. You know, that's all gone.
I mean, at the local store that does carry Star Wars toys, there are Boba Fett. There's like a twin pack with Boba Fett and Han Solo, and it's like you would think that would be a big seller because it's like it's Boba Fett, it's Han Solo. You would think even the kids would want that because it's the original Han and Boba Fett. but nobody's buying it.
Yeah.
Even
well,
at
they drove away the fans. That was what it was, is that you drove away the people who wanted to buy Star Wars merchandise by, pummeling everyone with the Force Awakens stuff. You go into the Disney store, you barely find anything related to the original films or like they do nothing with the prequels.
Oh yeah.
It's like they go out of their way to do nothing with the prequels. It's like,
Well,
at least people like the lightsabers from the prequels. Come on.
I think that there was something that I found relatively interesting that, I mean, when the prequels did come out originally, a lot of the toys ended up in clearance bins not long after. And I get that. It's like, yeah, it's kind of the new Star Wars is kind of in a similar situation, kind of. But at the same time, even me as a kid, or when I was a teenager, when those movies are coming out, I was buying the figures.
Yeah.
I was buying Mace Windu and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and, and stuff like that. And the destroyer droids and whatnot. I was buying the toys.
Yeah, they're not doing that. They're not going anywhere because nobody wants them.
Like you said, the quality is down. I mean, they've remade the Millennium Falcon, and this Millennium Falcon looks like the worst one I've ever seen.
And it's like $200 too. It's crazy expensive.
I've seen better models. You had a guy who was wholly dedicated to building Millennium Falcons for like decades. And I'd hate to think that he's the one who made this. I really do. I certainly hope he's not the same guy, because it's like, oh God, did they tell him to make it this badly? It looks terrible. It looks disproportionate. It doesn't look right. Why can't we just have you don't even need to re-release it. I mean, I think out of all the Star Wars merchandise that I think still technically sells, probably the Lego Star Wars stuff.
Yeah,
there's a better market.
But it's a slightly different market. Chef Jack said something that's kind of interesting here. He said how not to be a raging fanboy.
I remember that.
You get to tell the creators what is not canon. The creators said the EU wasn't canon. Suck it up. The creators didn't do that. That was Disney. Disney did that.
Yeah.
Lucas had no problem with the EU. He would approve stuff or let whoever else was directly beneath him approve stuff. If there was a major change, like when they killed Chewbacca, they had to go and talk to him to get permission to do that. But once you have something that has a fan base that brings in money, people who are willing to buy books, buy comic books, buy merchandise related to that stuff, that's money you're throwing out. And then the immediate reaction that those people who like that stuff is going to have, the majority of them, is that we're not going to buy the new stuff out of spite. So if you piss them off, you cost yourself money. So from Disney's perspective, I can understand that they want to be able to create their own after Return of the Jedi mythos. I totally get that. Yeah, but
I respect
you have
that
people
decision.
who want to buy the stuff that already exists. It would make more sense not to really dig into those fans. The other thing is that they've been pulling from the expanded universe and adding that stuff into Rebels. They did it with Clone Wars. And so it makes it very confusing because there are characters that are in those series that were part of the EU. So what counts, what doesn't, it's not very clear.
Yeah.
It just convolutes the canon. So there's no reason to do that. The simplest thing that they could have done is exactly what George Lucas was doing, which was that you can go ahead and create all that stuff. When I make a film, whatever I do in the film, that's the canon. Whatever you did there doesn't count anymore. That's exactly what he did. He let Greg Bear come up with how they came up with the Death Star. He did that, I think, in Rogue Planet. And then about a year later, episode 2 comes out, undoes it. Right. Yeah. And he specifically asked Greg Bear to write the book because he wanted him, this well-known science fiction writer, to write the book. He sought him out, let him do it, and then a year later undid it.
Yeah. So well, it's because it's George, and George sometimes, goes off reservation. Let's keep in mind that this is George Lucas. I wouldn't take anything he says at face value, Jack. No matter what he says, I would take it with a grain of salt at the very least, because he flip-flops all over the place. Although it's obvious right now that he just genuinely doesn't like the, direction that Disney has taken his property. but at the same time, I think someone was pointing out like the levels of canon. It does exist, you know. They had everything documented and curtailed ahead of time. There's a guy who was even in charge, of the entire EU canon. They
to
had
make sure that nobody would confuse anything
exactly.
Yeah.
He was the guy in charge. He was, I think they call it like the Jedi Holocron Archives or something like that. He was in charge of everything from keeping everything in canon, from the video games to the comics to the novels, everything. I don't think he's there now, but he was, and he was in charge of it for a very long time. So there's levels of canon, and and obviously some stuff's gonna overshadow whatever George decides to do, or George is gonna overshadow whatever people make.
But he did pull from some of the expanded universe stuff. Some of the ideas of what the Sith can do come from that. Even the word Sith, the way that it's being used in the prequels, that's actually from the books. That's not something George came up with on his own. He didn't come up with the name, but the way that it's being demonstrated, that is something that he pulled from the books. Now, the concept of there only being 2 of them, that's totally him, right? He did that. He took what he wanted and twisted it to be what he wanted it to be, which is the way that it should work. It's his idea. So when he says this is what it officially is, that's what it officially is. Yeah. But
I mean, I think even though people mentioned this in my comment section when I talked about the EU, they said that the word Sith isn't even an original word or anything. It comes from the John Carter books.
I wouldn't be surprised. George is known for cribbing material.
Yeah.
I do like, though, how when he signed over everything and he got his $4 billion, which, hey, I mean, look, I've got precious ideas too, but $4 billion is $4 billion. I will take the money. All right. He signed it over, but he also gave them his ideas for what he wanted to do. And they're like, oh, that's so cute. That's nice. But they had already gotten the 3 principal actors, Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, to sign on for George's concepts. Yeah. And so they were like locked in. And that was one of the reasons that Mark Hamill was so pissed about it. It was like, he heard what George was going to do, and that's what he thought he was going to do. And then he gets what they're doing. And he's like, what the hell? What is this? This isn't me. This isn't Luke. What is this? This isn't Star Wars. So I kind of want to know what George Lucas was going to do, because I wasn't one of those people who hated the prequels. I don't hate them. I admit that they're not as good as the originals, because they're not. There's some clear problems with it, but I don't hate them. I don't think they're unwatchable. Yeah. But there's an element there.
Film, yeah. Of course, keep in mind that this is what do you call it? It's a science fiction soap opera.
Yeah. Well, so space opera.
Space opera. That's the word I was looking for. It's a space opera. And you're going to find elements of that kind of shit in every space opera. It doesn't matter which one you get.
Well, what bothered me about the prequels was that Lucas didn't tell the tragic fall of a hero. And for someone who's so well versed in Joseph Campbell's Hero of a Thousand Faces and that mythology, for him to not nail it, it's like, it's not hard to do. What you do is you have Anakin try to do the right thing, and then either completely have it screw up on him by fate, so just things around him makes it go wrong, or that his own behavior makes it go wrong. And that's what it should have been, his own behavior making it go wrong. Yeah. Then that would have made him a more relatable character, and then we wouldn't have hated him. You also can't write crappy romance dialogue. That's just, you can't do it. The looks on Natalie Portman's face when she I think it's the scene where they first meet, they're in her apartment, and she's like, oh, Annie, you look so different. And he's like, oh, you look exactly the way you look in my dreams. And the look on Natalie Portman's face, she's not acting. That's her actual reaction. She's like, oh my God, are you jerking off? Oh, what hand? Just tell me what hand. I just want to know. Like, that was the look on her face. She's like, oh, ugh. And all the dialogue was like that. It's like, dude, there are people who know how to write romance. Just bring them in.
Yeah.
Pay them.
Get a couple extra writers who know how to how to write a love scene at the very least.
It was unbelievable. So it's like that kind of stuff needs to go. But overall, I thought that the films were okay. It's just that he didn't do what he wanted to do. And I think the reason why he didn't do it isn't because he's a terrible storyteller. He's not a terrible storyteller. He's not a good director, but he's not a terrible storyteller. Is that he knew the story too well. And he knew what he wanted to see. And then all those connecting threads, he didn't think he needed to do because he already knows what they are. And there was no one around him to go, hey, dude, I don't know what's going on here. Right. Everybody was enamored with being on the Star Wars film. So no one had the balls to go, it's not working. The one person who was actually doing it was Steven Spielberg. And that's actually in the behind the scenes on Phantom Menace where he brings Steven onto the set and he's like walking around and he looks at the droid and he's like, it's kind of flimsy, isn't it? It's like, well, that's the point. They're meant to be destroyed. And like, well, that doesn't make a good army, does it? Like he's just totally tearing it apart in the moment. And you can see George is like, yeah, no, that's a good point. Right. So like you needed someone like that to be willing to tell him, hey man, this isn't working.
Yeah, and I think Spielberg should have been involved in the prequels. Considering that they worked on Indiana Jones and whatnot together, just bring him in and just kind of be the voice of reason for George to say, George, that doesn't sound very good.
Well, Chef Jack is making a point here about Anakin doing what I was saying, where everything he tries to do, sort of, he screws it up on his own. He does. That's true. The point that I'm making is that there's a formula that Joseph Campbell lays out in the Hero of a Thousand Faces. There's a formula or a pattern that these tragic hero falls usually follow, and Anakin doesn't follow it. That's the problem. That what you see Lucas doing is he wants you to like Anakin the way that you like Luke, because he's like, okay, well, if you like him and then he falls, that's going to make it tragic. But then he has to make him become the figure that would become the tragic figure. So then he has him acting like a snob, because that's like, oh, that's how he turns. Okay, but you can't have him be the good guy and really nice and likable one scene and then a dick the next scene. It doesn't work. It's disjointed. And then he just comes across as whiny instead of actually making it so that what he's doing is either him perceiving things incorrectly or maybe he's right. And it's just that his reaction to it is overblown. So, for example, what if when he says that Obi-Wan's holding him back, maybe Obi-Wan is. Maybe Obi-Wan's afraid of his power and he's seeing Anakin doing stuff that only a Jedi Knight should be able to do, and he barely knows how to use the Force. Maybe that's the reaction. Then Anakin's response makes sense. So as an audience, he doesn't come across as whiny. It just sounds like he can't handle the situation. He's not listening to Obi-Wan when Obi-Wan's telling him, take it back a notch. But then you can also have Obi-Wan pushing too hard, and that could cause the conflict. That's what's missing. So you don't have the proper connective threads so that when Anakin falls, it makes sense. Like in episode 3, he goes from being a good guy when the sun is going down. It only takes like 30 minutes for the sun to set. So sun is setting. He's standing there with his long vision of him and looking at Padme, and then he decides, okay, I'm gonna go and help Palpatine. Okay, so he goes there, helps Palpatine, becomes Palpatine's bitch like that, right? Just suck my dick. Perfect. Just does it, right? And then he goes to the Jedi Temple and starts killing Jedi. This is 5 minutes later? Like real time. We're watching it real time. So it's 5 minutes later. He is murdering other Jedi that quick. Then he goes and kills 4-year-olds. He kills children that fast. Like the sun has just set. So 30 minutes ago, you were a good guy. Now you are murdering children. Yeah. That is a little bit too quick. Right? so it's like that was the problem with it, is that it's like you don't set it up. What I thought would be kind of cool was, what if you saw that scene, he pops the lightsaber, the kid jerks back, is like, oh my God, he murdered them. And then the next scene, when we see him again, he's actually leading them out the temple, right? He's trying to actually rescue them because he can't bring himself to kill the kids. And then the clone troopers come in and see, and they're like, oh, don't worry, Lord Vader, we'll take care of them. And they kill the kids. And then, Anakin is standing there. He's all pissed off. And this is when he just flat out becomes Vader. It's like, okay, well, you killed them. Now I'm going to kill you. And he murders all of them. And then as he's walking away, like there's some kid, he could kind of hear him, or we see the kid moving, and then we just get a shot of Anakin from behind, and he just lifts up the hand, and you hear that force thrum, and then and then he puts the hand down and walks away. And now we know he's turned, because he wasn't willing to kill him before, but he doesn't want to get caught. So it's like, yeah, might as well kill him. And that shows that he has some still goodness in him. So it makes what Luke says makes sense, because there's some goodness in him. And then at the same time, we see that he is willing to hurt people.
Yeah.
There you go. Like, that's all Lucas had to do. But there was no one there to say, hey, man, just do that.
Yeah. That's a big problem.
I wonder what they're going to do with this next film, since they got this terrible backlash.
They're going to have to do a lot to fix it. I'm pretty sure I'm probably not going to go and see it. I just don't like Disney's Star Wars right now.
I'm not going to see this one again. I'm not even going to buy it on DVD. I don't want it.
Yep.
I don't want it in my house at all. It has to stay out.
Yeah.
Because I'm so pissed off with this film. But I am curious what they're going to do, because they're already selling the Han Solo film. Like, writing that off. Like, that's going to fail. You haven't even shown a trailer yet.
Yeah, they haven't even shown a trailer. That shows how little faith they have in it. I mean, we've seen how many Black Panther trailers and Avengers Infinity War trailer and all that stuff, but it's like, where's the Han Solo trailer?
Yeah.
I mean, even Rogue One got trailers. Despite how a lot of people didn't like that movie, it still has trailers.
I was disappointed in that movie because they wasted Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
You don't bring in one of the premier martial arts actors in the world and then have him play a blind man for 5 minutes and beat the crap out of everybody. And first of all, never let him have the Force. You never confirm that. And then that's all, he gets one little fight scene. Wasted.
Yeah. Sad. What a waste of potential. I still haven't even watched that movie. I always thought that was kind of a dumb idea for a movie. It's like, wait, we're talking about the people who steal plans to the Death Star. They're all going to die.
Yeah, they were supposed to be Bothans, though. I think I remember that in the film. It's like, many Bothans died to bring this to us. These don't look like Bothans.
Yeah. I never even really knew what a Bothan was.
They're like some furry creature.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite Chewbacca, but similar to that. From what I read in the books. That's what I remember in the books.
It was like, isn't that what they said? It's like, many Bothans died to bring us this information. Although I think my brother said, it's like, no, they said that in the second one. It's like, no, they didn't even need a plan for the second one. The Death Star wasn't even finished.
Yeah, it was the first film.
It's not like it's hard. I mean, you had a bunch of scouts probably just scoping the thing out while it was being built, and they see, oh, hey, look, the reactor's pretty much right out in the open. We could just fly our planes right inside and blow it up again.
Chef Jack says that it was the second film. Was it the second Death Star? Because it's the same thing in all three films, so it's hard to keep track.
Yeah,
because
eventually they all kind of meld together.
It's just, hey, we got a Death Star. Hey, this other one, we got a Death Star. Hey, we got another Death Star. Okay, we got the Death Stars. We got it.
But even if that is the case, it's like, we know that the spies didn't make it.
Yeah, so it does take.
It doesn't matter if it's Bothan spies or if they're humans or whatever. It's like, we know they don't make it through this. It's the most inconsequential movie. And people say it's like, oh, well, it solved the one plot hole of, like, why does it have a reactor port that, is an easy target? I'm like, I never saw that as a plot hole. I just saw it of all, like, it's the only one valuable place on the thing that is an easy target. Plot hole? I don't really think that's a plot hole. And the one that doesn't need an entire movie to explain it. Maybe
it is a bit of a plot hole, though.
Maybe.
Because it's too convenient. That's really what it is that you would imagine that someone would notice this as they're making this thing. Is like, hey, this port goes directly to the reactor. That's a bad idea, right?
Bad little flaw in the design a bit, yeah.
But, overall, do you need a film to explain it? Nah. But this is just Disney money grab.
A novel, maybe? A comic? Sure.
There probably is one. I haven't read all the books, so there probably is some explanation in one of the books. Yeah,
actually, I think that there was, because if I remember correctly, what is it? one of the characters that was part of the EU, the guy from Dark Forces. He was one of the people. You remember that video game? Probably not.
I never played that one.
It was one of the PC games. It was the Doom clone.
Okay.
I cannot remember his name. God damn it. But I think
it there.
Yeah, I think in a novel or something, he was on the team that helps steal the Death Star plans or something. I don't remember.
Okay.
Or whatever the case may be. I don't really know, but I'm sure they did books prior to this that covered that subject.
Chef Jack says, nobody said we'd have to protect the main reactor from space wizards capable of getting a proton torpedo to make a 90-degree turn in space. True, but the Emperor would probably be dickish enough to worry about that kind of thing.
Yeah. Kyle Katarn, that was the guy's name. Thank you, guys. Okay. Kyle Katarn was a cool character, though. And now he doesn't exist anymore.
I'm rereading the Thrawn trilogy, the first one.
Oh, yeah?
I love that. I love that character because he's such a cool character.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite books are the Jedi Search trilogy. Those are my favorite. I thought that should have been the film, the 7th and 8th and 9th film, because it was so cool, where Luke is setting up the new temple.
Yeah.
I think that would be the place to start.
We kind of skipped that entire segment and just moved right into the death of his Jedi Order. You know, the one thing I was thinking, like, with the Snoke thing, it's like you left it kind of ambiguous, so there could be any reason why, you know, Kylo Ren joined him and whatnot. It's like maybe he was a member of Luke's Jedi Order in some way or another, or he was somebody important that, you know, started whispering things to Kylo or something, and then Kylo goes, you know, berserk and kills people.
It's just so weird that you wouldn't even want to explain who the character is, and like a whole section of your plot hinges on who this guy is. Why would Ben Solo listen to him?
Yeah, why? At least we know.
Tell me.
At least we know the reason why Darth Vader followed Palpatine. We know why. They gave us a why, and it can turn. Even if it's terribly done in the prequels, at least they give you an excuse of why he would do such a thing. It's like, oh, I can help people and you know, save them from dying. Follow me. You know, at least it's an excuse. What's Snoke's excuse? How did Ben meet this guy? Why did he decide, like, yeah, this guy makes a lot of sense. This guy gets me in some weird way. It's like, yeah, I'll join him and then murder everybody. Makes sense.
Nothing.
It works. Nothing. There's no reason for it. Lazy writing. Yes, it's exactly.
It is lazy writing, but it's also a thing called not talking to the person who started the new trilogy.
Yep.
And I love how they just sight unseen. You don't know whether or not this film is going to do well. Let's give this guy a whole other set of films. See you later, Jack. Let's give this guy a whole other set of films. Three films. We're going to give him another trilogy after this. Wait. You don't know if this movie's going to work, and you're already ready to give him another one? No, I bet they're rethinking that now.
You're jumping the gun a bit on that one. It's like, seriously. Yeah, we'll give him a whole trilogy. I mean, that's kind of what you probably should have done with this one. Just pick one director to have an entire trilogy. You know,
that would have made sense.
It would have worked out better in the end. And obviously now they realize that, but still, it's like you should have done that from the very beginning. Even though George Lucas didn't direct all 3 Star Wars films, he was there in the background for all 3 of the originals. He didn't direct all 3, but he was the producer of all 3.
And he basically had creative control. That was more or less what it was.
Yeah,
and that was kind of what you needed in this film. And for whatever reason,
you didn't
want to do it.
That's because Kathleen Kennedy is an idiot and can't clearly has problem finding someone to make a cohesive plan. It's like, obviously she's not the one in charge of the plan.
She has an agenda. That's what it is. It's a weird agenda too. Like, anybody can be a Jedi. That was not. How did you get that from the original trilogy? Because that was not what that was about. Not at all. It was about a particular family. That was what the film was about.
Yeah,
It
Yoda
was
never
not
said
about
anything.
anybody could be a Jedi. Come on.
Yeah, Yoda never said anything like, "Oh, Jedi's are only male," or anything like that. Yoda never said anything of that nature. Obi-Wan never said anything.
Yeah.
Just
It's
because we didn't get a female Jedi right off the bat or anything, but it still doesn't mean that they didn't exist. And the
I
prequels
think
can
they're
prove
just terrified of having another male lead because it's like, oh well, then girls won't want to feel like they could be Jedi too. Okay, then you know what you do is you introduce another character, but
yeah.
you don't sully the original films to do it.
Yeah, that's a problem. So maybe we should move away from Star Wars for a bit, if
Sure.
you're okay with that. The Force is female. No, the Force is ambiguous and it doesn't give a shit.
The Force will not be forced to choose a gender. You need to ask its pronouns first before you say that it's female. Ask its pronoun.
Yeah, how dare you? How could you? Anyway, uh, we could talk about other space type operas if we want. That might
What
be
else have
more fun.
what else have you gotten into? I tried to get into Battlestar Galactica, but I just couldn't. You couldn't pull me in.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you talked a little bit about Gundam and whatnot when before
Oh,
we
I love
started.
me some Gundam.
Yep. And apparently you want to learn how to draw robots more.
Yeah, I'm terrible at it.
Don't feel bad. I'm kind of still learning too. So
It's
but,
not something that comes naturally to me. But
yeah.
I love me some Gundam.
Oh, Gundam. Yeah, well, why not? What's your background with Gundam? Because I do have a lot of people who like Gundam on this channel, so why not?
My first foray into Gundam was Toonami when they started showing Gundam Wing. I'd never seen Gundam before, so I was obsessed with the show. And my favorite thing was actually the commercial for it, like the trailer for it that they would show.
Oh yeah.
It was like, it's a Gundam, and then everybody would die.
Yeah.
I love that. So that was my first foray into it. And then I saw Endless Waltz, and I was like, oh, this is really cool because the animation was so much better.
Yeah.
And for a while, I kind of couldn't really get my hands on any other stuff. I saw like their first sort of dub of, I think it was the one where sort of like a military team that they were following. It was an '08 Gundam.
8th MS team, yeah.
Yeah, that one. I
That's
saw
good.
like bits and pieces of that, but I never knew when it was on. So I got like an episode here, an
That
episode
one
there.
was during, I think they did that during the Adult Swim block.
Yeah. But I was always confused about what time it was coming on. And then they would,
oh yeah,
it was, you know, the weird part about Cartoon Network is they're very bad at re-airing episodes.
Yeah.
And very bad at letting you know when stuff comes back on. So like I've been caught off guard. Like Venture Brothers is back on. I didn't know. They brought back on Space Dandy. I didn't know. So I missed that whole second part of it. I missed it because I didn't know it was on. And so I was like, come on, man. So
they have a problem with advertising.
Yeah, they just don't like to let you know their stuff is on. It's weird. But after that, I started buying DVDs, and I was watching it online through like Mega Video, so I was bootlegging it.
Yeah.
But I watched all of Mobile Suit Gundam, Z Gundam, Zeta Gundam, and then I couldn't get through ZZ Gundam. It's
a weird one.
It broke me. It was, you know, it's like the way I say it is like if you were to watch Star Wars, then Empire Strikes Back, and then Spaceballs. Like that's
a large leap.
It's too much of a leap, and I couldn't take it. So I got halfway through the series, and it's like 50 episodes, and then I couldn't do it. Plus, I had AT&T's DSL, and my signal was so terrible that it would take 30 minutes for like 10 minutes of this thing to like load up.
Oh shoot!
So
yeah,
I couldn't even finish watching.
You want to know what's funny? You gave up on the show right when it would have gotten right back to normal.
I know. I found that out. It's like that was what I was working towards. It was like I know it's about to get normal. I want to get to it, but AT&T doesn't want to let me watch anything online.
Yeah, that's a problem. Definitely a problem.
It happened when they were installing the fiber wire in my neighborhood. They dug up the ground. This is about 2010 when I was watching it, and when they did that, like before, my signal had been great, so I was getting great DSL speed. And then after that, because everybody's cables coming through the damn wire, my signal drops. So it was to the point when I finally got Comcast broadband, I was getting dial-up speed. I'm not making this up. It was literally like 7K. It's like, this is dial-up speed. This is insane.
Oh, no.
And I'm paying you $30 a month. No. This, I can't do this. So that was how I ended up there. So I didn't get to see anything past that. I did watch I think it was all of Gundam 00. I love that.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like a retelling of Gundam Wing. And then I watched all of Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny. Yeah. And I watched Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny.
What are your thoughts on those ones?
I enjoyed it. The fact that when Athrun and Kira first see Kigali, they think that she's a boy says how much they look like girls. That they literally cannot tell a girl from a boy. That's how girly you are. That was ridiculous. But I love how the show is kind of misleading because you think that it's this like weird Bishonen pretty boy show. And then like midway through the first season, they just start killing people.
Yeah.
Right? Like when Kira takes out that one dude and he's like, man, I don't want to fight you. Don't attack me. And he's like, I'm going to kill you. And he comes in and Kira like ducks and then tags him in the cockpit. And then you see the blade go through the cockpit into the boy's chest. He explodes. Then the Gundam explodes. And it was like 5 episodes. It's just, they just murdered, like Athrun threw a battle axe at a jet. And the battle axe went into the dude's skull. Then he blew up.
Yeah.
They're like making a point of making sure that you watch these people die.
Like, except for Kira. Kira's not allowed to die.
Oh, no. He doesn't die. He dies. He lives through everything.
Exactly.
Nuclear explosion, everything.
That was the stupidest, one of the more stupider elements of the show. I liked some of the mech design. Some of the other characters were okay, but there's a lot of issues with the show that, well, particularly when the second story came out with Seed Destiny. Seed is acceptable. It has its issues, but it's not that bad. But considering that it's all homogenized and you can put it in the same universe and same timeline, it gets messy.
Yeah.
Because Kira survives a nuclear explosion for no reason. Why?
He just should.
Just because he pressed a button. That was the excuse Sunrise gave everybody. He pressed a button. It's like, wait, it's right under the cockpit.
Yeah, that button we never mentioned before. That's.
Well, no, they mention it. It's that in-jammer canceller that's supposed to deactivate nuclear weapons and whatnot. It's like, yeah, but the thing's already breached.
Right. That's why I'm like,
it's not going to work. Half the system's probably already fried, and he still survives it.
Well, he wasn't the only one. Wasn't the human?
Kid in Pearson was right in the middle of it too, and he survived too. Shin survived. It's like, wait, Shin, you should be dead too. Why didn't you eject?
I'm not sure what happened with Destiny. Like I'm not sure what the shift was, why they wanted to change it that way.
Okay, well the problem was that the director, his wife was the one who was in charge of writing. She had brain cancer, and unfortunately she was turning in the scripts too late.
Oh.
So they ended up having to make multiple filler episodes. They had to bring Kira back in and Lacus to pad shit out because they didn't know where to take Shin and the new characters, which was a problem. And it just kind of just went downhill from there, you know, giving piss poor reasons for Shin to be a dumbass. More times than not, he was a competent pilot. He was kind of cool. And then you give him the Destiny Gundam and he starts acting like a retard.
Yeah.
It was like, no real reason. He's just an idiot. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to follow your ideology, sir. No matter what, I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to be a dumbass and just follow orders. It's like, did you not just see what Atherin did? He was your superior commander, and he was helping you. Do you not see the reasoning that him and Kira are giving you?
Poor Atherin. He never got the woman he wanted.
I feel bad for Atherin because they put him through the same storyline he did in the first season. It's like, why?
Yeah.
He had his story arc. Give him a new one. No, we have to give him a different one with a different girl. I'm like, why? He has a woman. Her name is Kigali. Thank you very much.
No, you can't have her because it's not gonna work. So then we're gonna give him another one, and then he's gonna lose her to Shin, and then he's gonna get her little sister is just gonna be he's just like I need
him around for no damn reason.
Basically, that's what happens at the end. It's like he's literally the only person without a girlfriend. So she's just there, and he's like, fine. I mean, you've got an opening. I've got a thing that goes in the opening. Might as well. It boiled down to that. It's like you lost your fiance to your former best friend. She literally just ditched you. Like, we're supposed to get married, and she's like, I already fucked the other guy. He's not even better than you. He's prettier than me, so I have to be with him. And then you find the one that you like, who you thought was a boy. And it's like, okay, you guys want to be together, but you're from another world. She's from another world. It can't work. So y'all break up. Then the one that wants you, you don't really want her, but you're like, okay, fine. I need to have somebody to be with. And then she's like, oh, there's Shin. It's like, this is insane.
Yeah. I feel really bad for Shin because there was potential to make a good character, but they screwed that up by bringing Kira back.
Yeah.
It's like,
I prefer Gundam 00 over C.
Oh, definitely. Gundam 00 is way better. It's far more tolerable, even with some of their stupid characters.
My favorite part of the show, though, was the just them showing up in the middle of battles and taking everyone out. Like, you guys are going to stop fighting, or we're going to kill all of you. It's like, we don't have to listen to you. Like,
we're the military. You can't stop us.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, really? Watch me take you out.
Armed intervention.
I love that. And you know what? That's like a cool idea that would be interesting to see with superheroes. Yeah. Like, what if you had a group of superheroes who just make it the point? They're like, you guys fight, we show up, and we take you all out.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. What you're going to do.
No questions asked.
That would be an interesting ploy of, like, what would the world become? Would it do what happened with Gundam, where they would all unite because it's a ruse to make everybody unite?
Yeah.
Would that happen, or would people just start taking out, like, if it was in the Marvel universe, would they just start killing anybody with powers? It's like, we can't risk them doing this to us. Take them out now. That'd be an interesting play.
Yeah, could definitely take it a few interesting steps and directions.
Yeah, I've tried toying around with it. I can never quite figure out what I want to do because I'm not that versed in world politics.
Yeah. Same. Although I could probably come up with decent fictional politics.
Yeah.
But because
we all know where they would go. I mean,
yeah.
There's a very specific place in the world that probably needs that to happen. But, you do that, and then somebody might shoot up your office. So,
yeah. Gundam 00 handled its stuff a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I didn't like what they did.
Designs for the Gundams.
The Gundam designs are pretty cool. They're very angular.
Yeah, they got the guy from where he did the designs for something else. What was it? Was it Patlabar? Or no, it was something.
It could have been, but his design clearly is different from when he did Patlabor. Because those designs were very round.
Yeah, it might be that guy. It was either that one or like another sort of police themed one, but I think it was him who did it for that show. And so they brought him in to just have a completely different look. And it was just a very unique design. I liked it.
00 is not blah. Take that back, Smackzo. Take it back.
The one that I thought was was
G
Gundam.
Huh?
I didn't like that one.
Which Gundam?
G Gundam.
Yeah, it's
not seeing that one.
Well, that's the one that Smackzo really likes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't stand it.
It's okay. It's not. the way I look at it, it's not technically Gundam. It just has Gundam in the name.
Yeah.
Basically, what it is, it's a super robot show.
Yeah.
Mixed with Dragon Ball Z.
That was pretty much why I didn't like it, was because it wasn't Gundam.
Yeah, it's not what we come to expect from it. It's a very strong departure from that. I mean,
What
I
did you
guess
think about Unicorn? Did you see that?
Unicorn's okay. There are parts of it that I really enjoyed. I think that the MacGuffin thing's a bit weird. You know, finding a box.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For Urge to Kill Rising. Yes, we don't like G Gundam. What
Yeah,
are you?
see, if you try to kill me, here's the thing: you're in a mobile suit where all I have to do is just push you over, and you're pretty much done, because you will actually fall in your cockpit, and then as you roll around in the cockpit, your Gundam will do the same thing. So all I have to do is just basically grab it and just shake the shit out of you, and then that's it. And your Gundam's broken.
Yeah, I think the one problem that Unicorn had was just that idea of a MacGuffin that can, you know, make both the Federation and Zeon completely, or, you know, whoever gets it will win. That's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
It's just a plaque. It's a stupid box that you spend half of the show hunting down for. It's like, since when was Gundam completely beholden to a freaking MacGuffin? Of all things, it's a box.
Well, you do have to admit, they always have the same plot.
Well, yeah,
like,
that
inevitably somebody throws an asteroid or a colony at Earth.
I don't know. I don't think they did that in Unicorn. They should have, because then the cycle would have been complete. But they didn't do that. No, the entire thing was about a MacGuffin. Took 4 mobile suits on foot. That's the problem. He's a human punching mobile suits.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Smaxo, but look, I like G Gundam to an extent. It's fun, it's goofy, but I can't take it seriously, because you can't take it seriously. That's the entire point. It's more of a comedy. Well, with a decent plot, you know. It's just goofy. It doesn't really work within the entire strain of the Gundam universe. It's like the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
But a lot of people still love the redheaded stepchild. They don't hate him.
One of them.
Not everybody hates him. Just some people are indifferent about him, or just don't like him. But the rest of the people like him. I mean, you have Gundam Build Fighters, and it's in a similar scenario, but I like that one better. Sure.
I tried to stick to the like the Tomino ones primarily.
Yeah.
I actually got a chance to hear him speak. He came to Columbia College.
Ooh, that's cool.
Shortly after he remastered Z Gundam.
Yeah.
And he was promoting it. He was very drunk. Okay. He was very drunk.
I can believe that. How old he is.
And he does not like Americans. And my Japanese isn't that good, but I'm versed enough to know when I'm being insulted. And so it was hilarious watching the translators, because Tomino was like, he was so bored with the whole thing that he was like leaning over to his side. He had his hand, like his head in his hand. He was leaning all the way down. So it's like his head was practically parallel to the floor. And he would just talk crap about Americans, because, you know, someone asked a question. It's like, well, why did you have it be with the sort of military thing? Why did you do that? And so what he says, and I know enough Japanese to catch that that's what he was saying, is that, well, the Americans, you know, came in, they firebombed the shit out of us. So we, you know, all we know is war. So I figured, why not find a way to get it back? They're doing all this crappy animation. The only thing that they got good is Disney. Here's a way to get back at them. We're gonna show you where your Americanism goes. And the translator is like, oh God, what do I say? Because
I can imagine Tomino saying this.
It was hilarious, because everyone who understood a lick of Japanese, every time he would hit a word, they'd be like, oh God. And then the poor translator is like, well, what he's saying is And then one of the teachers was like, I can't believe they're being so disrespectful to him. I was like, you don't know. You don't speak any Japanese. You don't know. When he just said Bakajaro, he just called everyone shitheads. That's the equivalent of what he just said. He's insulting everyone here. That's why they're acting like that. They're like, oh my God, what do we do? It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And it was just funny to watch him do that because,
Imagine. What do I think of Turn A? I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't seen that either. I wanted to, but it was on my list. I was trying to watch them in chronological order. Yeah. But, AT&T didn't want to help me do that. Yeah. So. And now you can't find them online anymore. So
yeah, Tomino's a nice enough guy, sort of. He's weird at times.
Yes.
But yeah, his stuff's normally pretty good. The only one I would recommend probably not watching would be Reconquista NG. I would not recommend watching that one. Because there's a toilet.
Oh dear.
In a Gundam.
No.
I actually was in Discord, I think it was like sometime last week, and I showed people that. They're like, why?
I mean, in theory, they are going to have to go somewhere. I mean, they are in the Gundam the whole time. So there's probably, I just assume that there's, they lift up the seat and there's like a little chute that they can go down in or something like that. But you don't have to actually show me the toilet. I don't need to see it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like we don't need to know, but you actually dedicated scenes to showing characters using the toilets. No. Also, the show's just badly paced from the beginning.
No, yeah.
From one scene to another, you don't have any time to develop or grow anything. In the first few episodes, it goes. And I think that, some people made the excuse. It's like, well, he was only allowed 25 episodes for this 30th year anniversary Gundam show. I'm like, yeah. But even with 25 episodes, you can find a way to better pace this shit. It's kind of a
really great paced shows that are only 25 episodes. Casher Sins, perfect example of that.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways that it could have worked, but he cobbled stuff together. It seemed like he was jumping from one scene to the next without any context or explanation. First, I was like, okay, why are these pirate people attacking these other people who I don't really remember the name or answer to? Or who they are. Apparently it's over energy. I'm like, energy? That's it?
In a Gundam series? That's weird.
I mean, they're talking about the fact that certain people aren't allowed certain rights to certain energies. I'm like, and apparently there's this weird church that allows for the energy to be distributed. This is your excuse? This is the reason why people are trying to kill each other? And badly, I might add, considering most people don't die in the show. First few episodes, it's not very gruesome or terrible.
Well, he's kind of he likes to dance around that. Some series he'll just murder everyone in it, and then the other series he didn't do anything. So that must have been one where he was on his not killing people phase.
Maybe he wasn't depressed enough. We need him to be super depressed, and then he'll kill people. Everybody will die.
I'm waiting for my other Evangelion film. That's the other one that I want. That one's like in limbo at the moment.
I have not gotten to watch any of Evangelion. Everybody's like, oh, everybody needs to watch Evangelion. I'm like, I saw parts of it on Adult Swim years ago. Wasn't my thing. I don't know why.
It's an acquired taste. I will admit. You have to like pretty much, if you don't like it by the end of the first episode, you're probably not going to like it.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't get you then, it's probably not going to get you.
But
it's very psychological. And the guy who did it was like, he wasn't on his medication when he wrote it. So it is incredibly depressing. And very, very much of a downer, but the movies are retellings of the story.
Yeah.
And each film is like a different take, not necessarily on the story, but on the concepts of like mecha shows. So like the first one is just sort of like a proper retelling of the first couple of episodes. The second film is like a tribute to the Super Robot series. And then the third one is like a sort of almost like a subversion of the type of series that Evangelion became. So it's like, oh, that's interesting. And then the fourth one is in limbo because Anno has been doing all these other projects.
Yeah, that happens.
Like, damn it, man. I want to be able to watch the movies. I want all 4 of them so I can do this. I'm not going to buy them until I get the other movie. So make the damn movie. I've been waiting 15 years. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get it out there. Let's finish this up, Yeah, I don't, people, I heard, some people complain about some of the protagonists in Gundam being whiny and whatnot. It's like, have you heard of Shinji? I think he's far worse, quite honestly.
Oh, yes.
Amuro, yes. Amuro in the first series, yeah, he's a little shit. But that's kind of the point. He's a kid being forced into warfare. He doesn't even want to be there. Like most protagonists in the case, it's like, I don't want to be here. I'm kind of being
Shinji's
forced.
A whole other level, though. He is he's basically what would happen if you took someone who was an anime fan and you had them have like a screwed up childhood and then put them in a mobile suit. What would happen? They lose their mind. That's what would happen.
Yeah,
they go completely bonkers.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of the more whinier characters. I mean, I think him and Kira could run for the character who cries the most in a mech show.
I'd say the difference is Shinji's crying like he should be crying. Like it makes sense in the show that he should have that reaction. Kira's more like, what are you crying for, man? Everybody likes you.
Camille, I don't think is autistic. Camille's actually pretty smart. He has his moments, but at least he wasn't Amuro. Wasn't the same. He actually was willing to punch the shit out of people. He was the one who actually proactively went into the robot and said, you know what? I want to kill some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of the same Judo was just like, I'm just here for fun and I just want to, steal robots and make money because I got a little sister to take care of.
Yeah, I didn't like that motivation. That didn't do it for me. I guess what bothered me about it was that Tomino had set this very sort of realistic, militaristic tone to it, where these are people reacting to being in war.
Yeah.
And this is how they're reacting to being in this war zone and their lives and how it affects them. And then you shift from that to it's like, I just need some money. The cockpit won't close when I try to close it. That's going to be a gag for the whole episode. Is I can't get the cockpit door to close, so it just keeps opening randomly in the middle of the fight. Just
it's weird. I mean, Judo's motivation to try and they're in an Outrim colony that it doesn't get support from the Federation or Xeon, and they're just kind of scraping by. So I understand the reason why he's more focused on making money. It makes sense. It's like, well, he wants to send his sister to a school where, she can make a better life for herself than he's made. Yeah. That's the only skill trade that he has is, salvaging stuff. It's like, okay, it makes sense. It's a feasible way of employment. And in all honesty, if he did manage to steal a Gundam, he would probably make bank.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not his own. I mean, inevitably, his motivation does change, but that was for the first 10, 15 episodes. That was just too dragged out. That was the problem. It's like,
yeah, it was killing me. It was like I'm looking at it, I'm like, I just need to get to episode 18. Once I get past episode 18, it gets better. Yeah. And I never got a chance to get past it. I think I got to 15. And then they, that was when the government decided, hey, make a video. This is illegal. We're going to shut you down. Damn it. Yeah.
I'd probably recommend it's like, get to the part that's good and then just skip the weird stuff. I mean, the first episode is entirely a recap of the first 2 series. I'm like, why? That seems like, you wasted an entire episode on this.
I'm guessing somebody might not have seen it. That was
Yeah,
probably what that was.
I think if you wanted to recap, you could recap for like maybe about 5 minutes, but it's like almost 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was long.
It is showing like judo doing things and whatnot, but it's like it's completely nonsensical. It's if you're someone who already watches the show, you could completely skip episode 1. You don't need to watch it because nothing really happens. Just recaps what happened to Camille and Amuro.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's with scenes of judo running around doing things. That's about it. Nothing really to add. Can kind of be skipped over. There was some good stuff, but yeah, that one has issues. I still like judo though. Compared to because I mean he's not a whiny protagonist.
Yeah, that's
Some
true.
people are like they don't like Amuro because he whines. Or Camille. It's like judo doesn't cry. He doesn't complain. He's actually seems to be far more adult than the others were, even though he's still a kid.
Yeah.
He's an adult, more of a well, I mean, he's still immature, you know, in his own way, but it's because it's like, hey, I'm gonna skip school and you know continue to cause mischief and trouble, but he's acts more like, oh, this is an interesting scenario I put myself in.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Also, considering most people consider him the strongest new type out of everybody. And I was like, really? Him? What about Camille or somebody else? They're like, no, judo. And then they gave reason like, oh, well, now that you've pointed it out and laid it out pretty plainly, I can see why you would say that. Camille just gets himself angry for whatever reason.
True. That was like a running
pretty
theme
much.
through the show. He just worked himself up.
Yeah, he just gets pissy and angry, starts punching
It's not
guys.
our fault that your mom gave you a girl's name. Settle down.
I always liked his excuse. It's like, it's not a girl's name.
It's
I'm a
still
man.
girl's name.
I think I remember playing some of like the old video games. That's what he would say. It's like, Camille's a man's name, and I'm a man. I'm like, sure you are, buddy.
If you say so.
Whatever you say, Camille. What? Although I think the people are misspelling his name. The Camille is with the K, not a C. I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it starts with a K. Yeah, Camille. It's a man's name. And I'm a man! Although Zeta is very depressing.
Well, the remaster, he cleaned it up a little bit.
The movies don't count. Movies are terrible.
That's the one that he says counts. That's
what Tamino says counts? No, it doesn't.
That's what he says. That's the one that he wants to use.
If that's his excuse, then that means why does Double Zeta exist?
Hey, you know, he did some things when he was a young man. He can't explain everything.
Yeah, but that was the thing though. Double Zeta doesn't need to exist if the movie ending is what we go by.
Yeah, true.
Because Camille doesn't die or
go comatose, yeah.
Or go comatose, I should say.
Catatonic or whatever it was that he did.
Yeah, he does it. Then he can just be the guy who's in Double Zeta. We get to keep Camille for another whole season. And we don't need judo. Which would make me sad because judo is one of my favorites. And I don't want to see him go away. Sorry, Tamino. No. The series is canon, and I'm going to go with that. You can say whatever you want.
He'll cuss you out in Japanese, but you won't understand it.
You can do that too. Please feel free to do that. Char's counterattack is also well, yeah. And it uses events from Double Zeta as well. So yeah. I don't know. Yeah, he's not really comatose, he's catatonic.
Yeah. But at the end of the series, from what I remember reading, he like wakes up. So I guess if you edit the ZZ Gundam, maybe you'd be able to make it make sense with the remaster of
maybe.
Yeah.
Potentially. I don't know. I'll stick with judo. Considering one of the first Gundam model kits I bought was for the Double Zeta, so because I like that one. It's more super robot-y, but I still like the design. And
I never got into the model kits. I don't have the patience, which
Yeah.
seems surprising since I draw, but there's just certain things that I don't have the patience for, and putting together model kits is one of them. I like looking at them, like the stuff that these guys will do with, especially like the ones in Japan where they like make their own and they go in, they put battle damage and stuff. It's insane. And like, that is very impressive. I just don't have the patience to do that.
Mainly, I just do straight build stuff. I just build whatever's in the box. You
don't repaint it?
I've repainted. I worked on repainting one, and that was the Tolgis 3. That, considering that when you bought that from the old Endless Waltz sets, it's just plain white. Everything in it is white.
That sucks. I remember there were like gray parts on there, wasn't it? In the show.
No. Well, wait, no. No. Yeah. But the thing is that the kit was based entirely on white, because these were like back in, I think, like early 2000s and 90s. They weren't really doing a lot of the different color parts.
Okay.
Like, it's old tech. So the entire kit is white, and it just has a bunch of stickers to make the colors work.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, you want the blue like the blue tint for like the shield and whatnot? Here you go. Here's a sticker. you want the V fin to be gold? Here's a gold sticker.
Wow.
The shape of the V fin. I'm like, yay. And for a while I kept my kit like that, and then I was like, you know what? I'll just repaint it. And then I just like tore all the stickers off and decided I'm just gonna paint this a completely different color, and I painted it black and gold. I still need to like do some like finer detail on it to like kind of clean it up, but for the most part, it's completely clean painted.
Okay.
And
I did buy some of the action figures. Those I did buy. They did those really small ones that were like about 4 inches, maybe about 5 inches tall. I bought those. I like those. Some of them were really good. Some of them are very flimsy, so they didn't stand up on their own.
I still have a few of them mine too. I have like the figure of the original Gundam, and I have like I have the Easy 8, the one from 8th MS Team. And I have like one of the custom GMs from Stardust Memory.
Okay.
So
my favorite was Heavy Arms.
Heavy Arms.
That was my favorite. Yeah.
My man.
I just like the way it looks.
That was my favorite too. Even the one from the show was a favorite of mine. It's like, yeah, Death Scythe Hell's cool. Wing Gundam's okay. I just like Heavy Arms. I just like the thing that's loaded up with machine guns and missiles. No real reason.
It was a color scheme that did it for me. I just like the way it looked, because it stood out from all the rest because of the way it was colored. Yeah. So, it's all this red and orange. It just makes it pop. So, and it's just, there's something cool about it. It's like, I've got a giant knife on one hand and a Gatling gun as the other hand, and that's all I need to take you out. And if you get a little saucy, you know what? My titty's open and I got bombs in them. There you go. It's like, you're not expecting this to happen. So I didn't like the movie version of it, Endless Waltz version of it. I thought that was a little much.
Yeah, it was just overkill. Just add more weaponry to it and remove its one melee option.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one and only melee option. Yeah, let's just remove it. Who needs that? No one needs a combat knife in a scenario where you might go toe to toe with somebody. I mean, you could give them something, a beam saber, anything, really. But no, just give him another Gatling gun. That'll work just fine until he runs out of ammunition.
Basically. Because
that's what happens. It's not like he's carrying a beam weapon. They're all reloadable weapons. So once he's out, which is exactly what happens in the movie. He's like, I'm out of ammunition. Now what do we do? Well, we could blow ourselves up. Sure, let's do that. That's a good plan. Let's just kill ourselves like we always intended to. We'll go out together. My one thing was like, wait, everybody else is running out of energy. How? Most of you guys are using beam weaponry. The only ones who aren't is Ketra and Troa.
Yeah.
You're the only ones that don't use energy weapons.
I'm guessing they were running out of fuel for the Gundam, presumably.
That was the excuse they made. I'm like, oh, shouldn't it be more like energy weapons should be able to last longer? But even Duo's weapons are running out of energy for some reason. Okay. All he has is a beam scythe, so and a Gatling and a Vulcan cannon on the head.
Yeah.
Not like he has a lot
the
of
least
options.
weapons of anybody.
Yeah, it's not like he has a lot of weapon options. And considering his suit's designed for a stealth suit.
Yeah, for a stealth suit, you know, a giant scythe is probably not the stealthiest.
It's a bit much. Yeah, it's a bit much. It's a bit overkill with the big wings and the giant scythe. That's just, you know, like that's just the edgelord. That's
no one will see me until I open these giant wings, and everyone will see me.
Well, I mean, he does have that cloaking device built into it. So. Yeah. But it's still like when it's not cloaked, it's kind of obvious and out in the open. Of course, he is supposed to be the god of death, so I guess
doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, he might as well just be like, who needs stealth technology when you can just slice through everybody like butter? It's not like he has any opposition. Is the cloaking device really necessary? What are they going to do? Send the Leos and the Ares out? Oh, yeah, like they're going to stop him. What are they going to do? Shoot him? He's not going to get hurt, considering how incompetent most of the enemy pilots were in the show anyway.
The dolls were like, the dolls gave them a run for their money for a little bit. Then they figured out how to beat them.
Wing Zero looks blah. Yeah. The Wing Zero custom from Endless Waltz is just stupid.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
No, it's stupid. You gave it angel wings. It was a dumb idea.
It's too on the nose. That's really what it is.
It's like and also you limited his equipment and armament too. You gave him a buster rifle and a beam rifle. No shield. Nothing else. Oh, wait, no, he had the head Vulcans, I guess, but you're limiting his technology and his weapon performance. The thing can't even transform anymore to fly faster. But it still manages.
I got a question for you. Yeah. What do you think would happen if Marvel and DC started incorporating stuff like Gundam into their comics? Because I think that's one of the things that's missing from them being able to bring in a new audience, is that they're not taking in like the ideas and themes from anime and manga and incorporating. Like, you don't have to match the style, but definitely like the tone of the stories.
Ideas. Yeah,
and bringing that over. You know, some of it could work. You know, you could do some. I mean, My Hero Academia is basically doing what I would have done if you were to sort of bring Naruto over to superheroes.
Yeah,
that's what that is. But I think, you know, if they brought some of that over, they might bring in a new audience. I know a lot of people who would be willing to check the stuff out if it were like that.
Definitely. I think that they should take lessons from it, and I hope that CB is the one to help teach them that lessons, because I'm pretty sure that while he was, you know, in the Eastern market and whatnot, I'm pretty sure he saw a lot of stuff that would probably help build a new audience, or a better audience at the very least, of people who want to see new stuff or ideas and concepts probably from anime and manga. I hope
he have to hire new people though to do that, because I don't think anyone there is going to be willing to do it.
Yeah, probably not. Didn't Marvel include Japanese super robots in the comics before? I have no idea.
They tried with like the Sentinel comic. That was about 10 years ago. They were doing this sort of I think it was called Tsunami. It was similar to that. It was like a Tsunami line that they were doing. They had Namor, they had the Inhumans, they had Venom, and then they had this book called Sentinel, which was about a boy who finds a random like Sentinel head and like a disassembled Sentinel, and he puts it back together, and it's sort of like his best friend kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And so he sort of goes around fighting villains with this, you know, rebuilt Sentinel that's nice. It's basically like a pet dog kind of thing. It didn't sell very well, although they did repackage it when they put it back out. they did it that smaller format that Marvel likes to do, where they make it look like it's manga even though it's not.
Yeah.
They repackaged it like that, and they sold it. I guess they sold very well with that because it keeps popping up all over the place. I see it at conventions all the time. That was like the closest that they came to something with a robot kind of thing, like a mecha kind of thing. Nothing else quite does that. They did have their manga verse line, which never really went anywhere. The only good idea from that was Spider Clan book.
Yep.
Everything else was kind of like hit or miss.
Yep. I remember reading some of that. I have to take a bathroom break. You can entertain the people if you like for a bit.
Actually, I think I have to go because I do have an interview tomorrow for a job. And we've been at it for like 3 hours.
Yep. I was probably planning on ending soon anyway, but I wasn't sure. But
okay, it was great talking to you.
Yeah.
Awesome seeing you guys.
But yeah, we'll end it here, guys. We'll see you later. Good night.
Okay.